The scene is set at the magnificent and imposing Valkyria International Academy. It's April 2032. A voice booms out. "Recruits, are you ready then?" Principal Tsushima Atsushi, his brow furrowed, his gaze sharp and intense, growls an announcement. "Then we will begin the class placement exam now." Inside the arena, the students are eager, weapons in hand, moving forward with purpose. The principal's voice continues to resonate. The first test is a practical competition held annually. He then announces, "First test, Goblin Elimination." The principal watches the proceedings from his office via a tablet screen. He continues, "The test will be broadcast live. I invite those citizens who support the school to vote and rate the students." On the live streaming platform, comments pour in. "They all look so strong this year. It is a prestigious school, after all. Is that a high school with a female swordsman?" In the principal's office, the camera continues to broadcast. He adds, "The results of this exam will have a huge impact on your future. Fight with all your might to enter the upper echelons." Back in the forest, 3 goblins with wooden clubs are standing back to back, scanning their surroundings cautiously. Kurimura Takayuki suddenly lunges forward, his iron gauntlets swiftly dispatching one goblin. The comment section explodes, an ancient artifact with wind powers. Does it increase his speed? His strength seems a bit weak, though. That impact must hurt. A gust of wind seems to move the trees. In the next instant, blades of kai fly in from another direction, slicing down a goblin. Minase Shizuku, her sharp sword in hand, lands elegantly, completing the attack. This scene sparks a frenzy in the comments. "Whoa! A female warrior has appeared. I'm applying to this school. Unbelievable. She's super strong. Her artifact covers both short and long range. That's amazing. I want one like that." And then from above, a female figure wielding a stunning holy lance descends. The goblin below, hearing the commotion, looks up. But it's too late. Shirohei Sachi executes a decisive strike, creating a large shockwave. The comments erupt again. "Whoa! Crazy powerful! She's so tiny, yet wielding such a giant lance. How cool, teachers! Please notice me." Agreed. Nearly everyone is watching the performance of this year's candidates. After witnessing the previous displays, the commentators are in awe. This year's list is insane. This vote is going to be tough. Should I vote for that cute girl from before? Who? There are too many cute people. Hey, vote responsibly, another commenter adds. They are paying for their school with our tax money anyway. The image of Sachi with her great lance and Shizuku with her enchanted sword is breathtaking. At this academy, strength is the ultimate standard. The powerful can obtain wealth and prestige, even as students, but then, a strange, extremely loud sound echoes from the forest, causing the students to flinch with concern. In the comments section, people are immediately questioning, "What's that loud noise? Lol, what is that?" Observing a drone flying overhead, one person quickly comments, "Ah, the camera, hurry up!" In the forest, a student in a yellow outfit is speeding towards a nearby goblin. As he charges, Asahi Hinata, in his eye-catching outfit, shouts with all his might, "Ah!" The viewers are taken aback. "Wait, lol, what is that outfit?" The comments section explodes. "What the heck is this? Lol, dude, that's next level cheap. Where's his artifact? Did he drop it? Don't tell me that trashy outfit is his artifact." Whether it's from using all his energy to shout or something else. Before Hinata can even attack, the goblin smacks him squarely on the head. One viewer comments, "He's so weak." Thus, at this school, the weak have no reason to exist. The viewers are in an uproar again. He got attacked by a goblin. Lol. A dark chapter in school history has just been born. What are he and that weakest goblin doing? Why did they even accept him into this school? Even though he's so weak, he's still fighting. That's impressive. Staggering from the blow, Hinata kneels looking around. He notices a broken tree branch beside him. He quickly reaches out and tightly grabs it. But at that moment, something strange happens. An enormous jolt of electricity surges through Hinata and the branch, causing him to cry out in pain. Viewers are confused. Where did the electricity come from? Did he get electrocuted by a branch? That scream sounds so hilarious. A circle on Hinata's wrist displays a message, "Cannot equip set for beginners. Wearer cannot equip weapons." Hinata, realizing something is amiss, whirls around to see the goblin looking at him with a mocking grin, still swinging its wooden club. Immediately, Hinata is beaten mercilessly by the goblin, unable to counterattack, only covering his head in defense. Very quickly, Hinata is battered and sprawled on the ground. Viewers react. "Uh-oh, this looks dangerous, doctor. Over here, principal. A kid is about to die here." The audience sees Hinata trembling, slowly sitting up and continue to comment. He can still stand. That resilience is worth recognizing. Blood and tears stream down his face. However, Hinata bites his lip to endure. The The bright yellow suit on his body slowly disappears. Now completely naked, he grabs the broken branch and charges towards the goblin, causing it to panic. The viewers are shocked. A broadcast malfunction. Everyone, lol lol. The comment section erupts once more. Turns out that trashy thing was his artifact. Lol. He said he couldn't take it off. Lol lol lol. Why would he remove his artifact just because he can't wield a weapon? Lol. Who would have thought it would turn out like this? Lol lol lol. Don't waste my tax money on someone like that. Ridiculous, hilarious, lol lol, I'm dying here lol. This humiliating performance is broadcast nationwide, serving as proof that everyone at school considers him the lowest of the low. In the end, Hinata, along with other candidates, passes the exam and becomes a student. His student card, however, has not been marked with a single star, and so, my student life began in this tattered outfit. He then reflects, I remember the interdimensional war, the battle between humans and hordes of ferocious monsters, Hinata recounts. One day, they suddenly appeared, and within a few years, pushed the world to the brink of destruction. A flashback shows Hinata as a child, witnessing a young girl trying to pull her mother from a pile of rubble. The city is in ruins, smoke and devastation everywhere. Most of the weapons we had could not harm them, and humanity had no choice but to wait for death. The young Hinata's face is distraught, his wide eyes filled with loss, staring into the distance. A massive, strange-looking monster floats in the sky. Its mouth begins to gather energy. It then directs this energy toward Hinata and unleashes a torrent of flames. The young Hinata can only raise his arms to defend himself. At that time, a glimmer of hope appeared. The ancient artifacts, these artifacts, imbued with power, included swords, shields, bows, and gauntlets. More broadly, ancient artifacts are objects formed when a person comes into contact with materials from another dimension. It is a representation of a part of their soul. Hinata watches a past broadcast on TV as he narrates, "My father used a shield artifact to protect people. He was my role model." The young Hinata's eyes are filled with admiration. Back in the flashback, two people are desperately using their artifacts to block the monster's flames. One of them, wielding a scepter, falls. Hinata's father, using his shield, shouts, "Hinata, take Shizuku and run." Facing the flames, he looks back at his son and says, "Become stronger, strong enough to protect everyone." Hinata's eyes fill with tears and his small hand tries to reach for his father. He can only clench his teeth, tears streaming down his face. Hinata wipes away his tears and moves toward Shizuku. He takes her hand and pulls her to her feet. Hinata runs with Shizuku, not daring to look back. The helplessness I felt that day is still engraved in my heart. Recovering from my regret, I trained hard, even in the pouring rain. Hinata runs, never stopping. He pushes weights until he is drenched in sweat, never resting. I trained as if my life depended on it. He trains day after day only to become stronger. His father's words resonate in his heart. Time passes, and half a year has gone by since he enrolled in this elite warrior academy. Recently, I have finally realized something. Back in the present, Takayuki arrogantly sneers. "Hinata, it's time you gave up." Hinata, bruised and battered, coughs. Takayuki continues, "Hurry up and get me some yakisoba bread, and before you go, drink this milk." He then pours a carton of milk over Hinata's head. Hinata's expression darkens as he grits his teeth and endures the humiliation. Hinata thinks, hard work doesn't necessarily lead to good results. That's the truth. Just as Hinata is about to leave, Takayuki pats him on the back. Oh, I almost forgot. He had placed a sticker that says "Hero arrives" on Hinata's back. He then puts an arm around Hinata and says, "If you dare to take that off before you come back, you're dead." Hinata endures this insult, but still doesn't say anything. As he walks down the hallway, people stare and whisper, "Look at him. Does he not have any shame, showing up in a hero outfit? Lol, that kid's being bullied again?" Suddenly, something catches Hinata's eye. Ahead of him is Shizuku, still confident and beautiful. She also notices Hinata but coldly walks past him, as if they are strangers. As she passes him, Shizuku closes one eye and then the other. Hinata glances back at the girl. "She's the girl I dragged away from the interdimensional war. Minase Shizuku, a friend I knew before I even had any sense of the world, like me. She also lost her father that day." Hinata hears a sound and glances down, noticing other students practicing with swords. He thinks from that day on, we were best friends, always supporting each other. But our relationship changed after enrolling at this academy. He remembers a vision of Shizuku, a beautiful girl with blue hair, a top student with a powerful artifact. Hinata compares her to himself. While she's the outstanding honor student, I'm the trash, with just a cosplay artifact. He feels a twinge of bitterness. I'm used to the looks of disdain. Hinata, holding two breads in his arms, opens the classroom door. A shoe immediately flies and hits him on the head. The one who threw the shoe is Takayuki. Hagane, standing beside him, is startled. He sits on the desk with an annoyed expression. "Hey Hinata, you're too slow. Didn't I tell you to hurry?" Hagen speaks up. "Don't throw shoes at him in my classroom." Takayuki is annoyed. "Go get it yourself." Suddenly Hinata notices something and looks towards a corner of the classroom. There, other students huddle, talking animatedly. Hinata thinks, including students with low-quality artifacts and uncertain futures. Class E? Akane says, "Well, you know," and Minamura adds, "Oh, really?" Looking at these students, Hinata continues, "This is the class of students with no ambition, not even the teachers care. A trash class." Takayuki, looking furious, cracks his knuckles and says, "Hey, where are you looking? Can't you see I'm talking to you?" His gauntlet artifact activates and with a strong blow, he punches Hinata in the gut, catching him off guard. Hinata thinks, normally, artifacts are only allowed in designated areas, but these guys don't care about school rules. Takayuki shows off his artifact gauntlet and frowning he says, "Are you doing this on purpose?" Hinata doubled over, vomits. Takayuki angrily says, "Or should I teach you a lesson? Don't make me mad." Hinata continues to vomit, sweat pouring down his face. In Class A, the worst of the worst, I'm at the very bottom. Hinata feels bitter and resigned, and I've been constantly beaten for half a year. Hagane, who had been silent, speaks up. "Takayuki, that's a little too much. Hinata's bread will get ruined." 2 pieces of bread lie on the ground, Takayuki says. "Oh, that's right. Since he went to the trouble of buying them, I should pay him back, right?" He then kicks Hinata, sending him crashing to the ground and laughs mockingly. The other students seem accustomed to the scene, Akane says. "Not again." Takayuki and Hinata, Minamura agrees. "Poor guy?" Akane asks Minamura. "Why does Takayuki hate Hinata so much?" Minamura replies, "Because Takayuki was assigned to Class E because of Hinata." Flashback to the time Hinata grabbed Takayuki's leg and took the hits. Minamura continues. After the first test, there was a mock battle to evaluate artifact quality. Hinata showed incredible perseverance in that match. Akane asks. "Like now," Minamura says, "exactly. Takayuki was rated poorly because he couldn't land a decisive hit." Observing the violence, the 2 girls simply watch silently. Hinata is now severely bruised. Takayuki grabs him by the collar, lifting him into the air. He yells, "Do you understand your place now?" Suddenly, a notification appears. 9,990 out of 10,000. Hinata's mouth curves into a faint smirk. Takayuki's face darkens and his anger surges. He punches Hinata hard in the face with his artifact gauntlet. Another notification appears, the number changing to 9,991 out of 10,000. He's thrown far away. The notification keeps increasing. Hinata's body slams into some desks which are scattered. He's slumped over, Takayuki says with disdain. "What makes you, weak as you are, make that arrogant face, inherited a weak artifact, huh? I bet your parents also had trash artifacts." Hinata is stunned, his eyes widening at the mention of his parents. Takayuki continues with contempt. "Introduce them to me sometime, I'll destroy your whole family." Hinata's hands clench, trembling. Takayuki gestures with a thumbs down, sticking out his tongue and taunting, "If you're mad, try to retaliate. That is if you can." Hinata, furious, darkens and grits his teeth. At that moment, Hagane suddenly cries out, "Hey Takayuki!" Takayuki grabs his collar, stopping him mid-sentence. "Isn't that enough? Are you protecting this loser?" He moves his face closer, making Hagane tremble with fear. Takayuki adds, "Do you care about this trash?" Hagane cowers. "No way, I don't care about such trash." Letting him go. Takayuki smiles. "Then you hit him too. There's a weapon right there." A single line makes Hagane's face pale. He is forced to grab a chair. Takayuki watches, amused. Hagane really does attack Hinata hard with the chair. A notification appears again. 10000 out of 10000. Takayuki casually says, "Hey, pick up the bread." Hagane immediately complies. "Yes, sir." Hinata's head is bleeding profusely and he begins to think, "I am weak." He remembers all the relentless training. Even with 10 years of training, there is no guarantee that my efforts will pay off. But the marking on Hinata's hand beeps. A notification appears. "You have met the condition for upgrade. Received 10000 out of 10000 damage." His head is still covered in blood, but his mouth curves into a smile. Another notification. "You can now upgrade your beginner's set to the resilient armor." His smile widens. Hinata reaffirms his thinking. "If my efforts are not rewarded, then I'll keep trying until I am." The mark on the back of his hand lights up. His eyes are resolute because I don't know what it means to give up. That suit holds a secret I realized about 6 months ago, not long after the class placement exam ended. Asahi Hinata, in his cosplay outfit, walks towards the training dungeon entrance. Lost in thought, he thinks, I was a complete failure in the class placement exam. At this rate, I'll get expelled for being incompetent. That's how Valkyria Academy works. Funded by public taxes, they won't hesitate to kick out useless students. Most of those who apply to this school are those who can't do anything without government support. I'm one of them, and I absolutely can't afford to get expelled. Hinata clenches his fist. There's still a chance. Holy artifacts can evolve. For example, the more a holy artifact is used, the stronger its traits will become. His hand rests on the door, hesitant. But what are my artifact's traits? What if this tattered outfit has no special power? Hinata pushes the door open, brushing away those thoughts. No, I can't think like that. He slowly walks towards the teleportation gate, reminding himself, I can't keep living like this. Inside the dungeon, Hinata falls back, his heart pounding as he stares at the goblin in front of him. This is dangerous. I'm going to die. Hinata tries to get up. That's right. Before humans had holy artifacts, we struggled even with guns against goblins. Hand-to-hand combat is impossible. He sits up wondering, what should I do? Should I take off the suit and fight again? Hinata grimaces with pain. No, if I do that, the artifact won't develop. I have to find a way to take damage while wearing this suit. He recalls the time when electricity coursed through his body. His eyes widen in surprise. Without hesitation, Hinata jumps up and runs straight towards the goblin. The goblin swings its club. Hinata quickly raises his arms to block. As Hinata falls, the screen lights up with a message. Restricted equipment, beginner set, wearer cannot equip weapons. Electricity crackles around Hinata. A wave of determination washes over him. I will never give up. The electricity affects the goblin, making it fall. Hinata struggles to stand, looking at the charred creature. He smiles, smudged with dirt. I did it. The goblin's body disappears, leaving behind a magic stone. Hinata crawls over to it, thinking, that was close. I shouldn't try that method again. He picks it up, delighted. After all that trouble, all I get is this tiny magic stone. Suddenly, the stone glows and vanishes from his hand. He's stunned. It disappeared. The system suddenly issues a series of notifications. Absorbed first magic stone. Your resilient armor has reacted. Absorbed first magic stone. Your resilient armor has reacted. Unlock the following features. Opening system screen. Added mission update. Hinata stares at the screen, bewildered. Since that day, I've spent almost half a year taking damage carefully. At the school dormitory, Hinata is warming up. The time has come. He checks the system. Upgrade condition. Receive 10000 out of 10000 damage. Beginner's set, now able to upgrade to resilient armor. Hinata swipes at the screen, but how do I upgrade it? A message pops up. Search method for upgrade. Only the owner of the armor can give voice commands. Keyword, upgrade. He studies it for a moment. Hinata makes the decision to proceed. He holds out his hand and commands, upgrade, immediately. His cosplay suit begins to change, black lines appearing on it. Hinata looks at himself in the mirror. So this is the resilient armor. He turns to look around. It's certainly a subtle change, but I've never heard of any holy artifact that can change its shape before, he wonders. Has its performance changed too? The screen displays status, strength. 14, endurance 18, intelligence 0, physical ability. 11, skills, not displayed. Adaptability, not displayed. Hinata stares. What is this? I've never seen this screen before. The detailed information is incredible. A notification rings out item. The resilient armor grants powerful protection and the blessing of growth to its wearer. Hinata reads again. Powerful protection and the blessing of growth. I'm not sure exactly, but it seems my defense is better than before. He looks at the wall clock. The training dungeon is about to open. Hinata clenches his fist. I should test the upgraded armor's strength a bit. The scene shifts. A goblin is timidly hesitating. A wind-tearing sound echoes through the trees. Shizuku, with a sharp gaze, effortlessly slices the goblin in half, looking at its decomposing corpse. She sighs. It wasn't even worth training for. Hearing the noise, she glances over. That! Hinata flashes into her sight. Sachi calls out to her. Shizuku, what is it? She grasps her artifact, looking at Shizuku. Shizuku closes her eyes briefly. It's nothing. Sachi follows Shizuku's gaze and exclaims, Oh, over there! Sachi places her hand over her mouth and giggles. I remember now. That's the interesting guy who caused the broadcast incident. Shizuku takes up her artifact and walks away. If you want to laugh that much, why not drop out of school and go into entertainment? Sachi calls out. Shizuku, are you mad? Shizuku says flatly. I'm not mad, just bored. She suddenly says something enigmatic. I set my expectations high, only to be disappointed again. Sachi tilts her head, looking at her retreating back. I wonder why Shizuku hates that kid so much. Suddenly, she realizes something. But come to think of it, Sachi looks at Hinata standing before a goblin. Does his suit always look like that? On the other side, the goblin swings its club. Hinata quickly blocks with his arms. Good, I blocked it. The armor's defense has increased as expected. He prepares to strike. It's not that I don't take any damage, but with this armor, I can take a step forward. Hinata punches straight into it. The goblin looks down at him. It grabs Hinata's head and slams him down. The fall is too quick for Hinata to react. The goblin swings its club, preparing to strike. It hits him repeatedly. Hinata curls up, protecting his head. Damn it, it's not working at all. At this rate, even if I endure their attacks, I can't win. Should I try it again? Suddenly, he feels nothing. Hinata opens his eyes, looking around. 3 more goblins have surrounded him. Hinata panics. Since when were they? He quickly runs. I'm in trouble if there are so many of them. I'm dead! He screams internally. Someone, help me! At that moment, a voice echoes in his mind. Listen to me, Hinata. You can't always rely on others when something happens. The image of Hinata's father appears, in danger. You can only rely on yourself. He gently pats Hinata's head. Be strong, son. Become a hero who saves people when they are in trouble. Hinata? Hinata snaps out of it. A goblin is holding his arm. Another strikes him on the shoulder. Hinata steals his resolve. That's right. He traps the club. A notification appears. Equipment unavailable. Beginners wearing this set cannot equip weapons. Electricity arcs from his body and quickly transfers to the 2 nearby goblins. Their hands loosen, seizing the chance. He runs. Hinata looks at his hand. He runs without looking back. The problem isn't whether I can or can't. The screen flashes. Your unwavering will has resonated with your fire-resistant armor. You have gained a skill. Revenge. His eyes are filled with determination. It's that I must. The notification continues. Met the activation conditions. Revenge. You can use a voice command to name the skill. Gained skill effect. Revenge. Accumulates damage received and converts it into power for 10 seconds. Can only be activated once per day. Remaining uses 1/1. Hinata stops, reading the information. A look of surprise on his face. A skill. The goblins are closing in. Hinata clenches his fist. Damn it. This isn't the time to think. I have to try it, he shouts. Revenge! The system begins a countdown. Hinata rushes forward. He punches the largest goblin in the gut, the force making it collide with the others behind it. Without hesitation, Hinata presses on. He slams another blow into its chin. Quickly, the others are also struck. Veins bulge on Hinata's face. He unleashes a final punch directly to the head of the last goblin. Finishing, he wipes the sweat off his brow. Hinata falls to the ground, sighing with relief. The screen displays, skill, revenge, accumulates damage received and converts it into power for 10 seconds. Can only be activated once per day, remaining uses 0/1. He stares at the notification. So this is a skill. I can use this as my trump card in a bind, but only once a day and after taking damage. Hinata struggles to stand. I'm going to be in many more situations like this. I can't always fight like that. He touches his cosplay outfit. I still haven't grasped the trait of my holy artifact. The armor's transformation feels more like a supplement than an improvement to the attributes. If this is the true nature of my holy artifact, the light from the magic stone catches his attention. Hinata picks it up. Like before, it quickly vanishes. The system rings out. He looks at it. A notification scrolls across. The resilient armor has absorbed the magic stone. Unlocked future functions. Updating list. The system unlocks one after another. Status. Durability enhanced. Passive skill. Gained willpower enhancement. Proficiency in equipped weapon. Gained gauntlets. Proficiency in equipped weapon. Gained sword. Proficiency in equipped weapon. Gained blunt weapon. Status. Physical ability improved. Hinata sees a glimmer of hope. I can become stronger. 1 week later, a goblin wanders through the forest, its eyes constantly scanning its surroundings. A dark figure descends from above. It's Hinata. He uses revenge and punches the goblin directly in the head. The goblin collapses on the spot. Hinata picks up the magic stone, rejoicing. Finally, I've defeated a hobgoblin. As the stone vanishes, he sighs. That was close. The system screen displays a notification. Mission conditions fulfilled. Defeated a hobgoblin for the first time. Complete mission completion will award an upgrade. He looks at the hobgoblin's club from the fight. Hinata picks it up, overjoyed. Finally, I can use a weapon. He looks at the series of notifications, rewards, proficiency in blunt weapons, proficiency in swords, proficiency in fists, collision resistance, LV1, ability to equip armor, +2 strength, +4 durability, +2 agility. He can't help but be impressed. It's worth defeating a strong opponent. Now I can transform while keeping my armor. He carefully studies the statistics. Since the upgrade list was unlocked, my artifact has undergone significant changes. He reads the new stats. Status, strength, 18, intelligence 0, durability 35, agility 13, skills, revenge art, passive skill, collision resistance, LV1, passive skill, stun null limit 3, passive skill, willpower enhancement, LV1, passive skill, armor equipability, proficiency in blunt weapons, swords, fists, he notices mostly. It's just durability that's increased. In the upgrade list section, he sees upgrade, proficiency in blunt weapons, arms, defeat a total of 10 goblins, defeat 1 hobgoblin, wear the resilient armor continuously for 1 hour. This list shows the conditions to enhance the armor. Most of the requirements involve hunting monsters. When the conditions are met, the new power is immediately etched into the armor. Hinata rests his chin in his hand. Skill, passive skill collision resistance LV1, reduces shock from impacts. Collision resistance, as expected. This is a defensive skill. My only offensive skill is revenge, and even that is hard to use. He becomes thoughtful. To acquire other attack methods, I probably have to upgrade my armor more, but I don't know how. What do I need to trigger it? Hinata lies down under a tree, repeating in his head, "Trigger, trigger." He falls into silence. Now that I think about it, when I gained the revenge skill, the upgrade list hadn't even been unlocked, but I still got it. When will the condition to unlock the resilient armor appear again? Hinata wonders. Did I do that when I absorbed the first mana crystal? No, there was a more important message. You have absorbed the first mana crystal. The armor has reacted to your unwavering spirit. He closes his eyes, pondering. It definitely said something about unwavering spirit. Could this be a mindset issue? Suddenly, Hinata's eyes widen. Or maybe it's emotion. It's a clear morning at a hospital. Hinata enters a room. Upon seeing him, Hikari happily greets him. "Big brother!" Hinata pulls a chair next to her bed. "Is it okay if I sit?" She replies cheerfully. "Yes, I feel really great today." Her eyes squint as she raises her arm. "Look, I need to get stronger before I'm discharged." Hinata smiles softly. "I understand." Hikari gently pulls back the curtain next to her bed. "By the way, Mom seems a little better today, right?" Hinata leans in. "Yeah," he recalls. "Since that incident, my mother hasn't woken from her sleep for 10 years. Crystal sickness, a disease that develops from the venom of certain monsters, currently has no cure." Hinata looks at Hikari. "My younger sister was also poisoned, but thanks to our mother's sacrifice to protect her, she was less affected and is gradually recovering." He remembers the doctor saying, "They say if things continue like this, she may be discharged next year." Suddenly, a man enters the room, interrupting Hinata's thoughts. Hikari recognizes him. "Mr. Ginji?" The man smiles as he greets her. "Hikari, you look healthy." Ginji carries a basket of fruit. "This is a gift for your recovery," she happily responds. "Thank you." The man pats Hinata's shoulder. "Hinata, it's been a while. This is perfect timing." Ginji leans in, whispering, "Let's talk for a bit." The two stand in the canteen. Ginji gets a drink from the vending machine and says, "Isn't it time you gave me an answer?" Hinata watches every move. This man is Kagura Ginji, head of the Phoenix Guild, one of the guilds formed to fight monsters. Ginji smiles while holding his drink. "If you want to take care of your weak sister and live with your mother suffering from an incurable disease, you need money, right?" Phoenix was also the guild that my father belonged to. Noticing that Hinata doesn't answer, Ginji continues, "Don't hesitate. Don't you want to find a cure for your mother?" Hinata clenches his teeth. He always pretends to be a good person. This man's request is the worst. Crystals that form inside patients suffering from crystal sickness have similar properties to mana crystals. Mana crystals are a new source of energy for humanity, but what if humans could create them infinitely? To study this, patients of this rare crystal sickness are secretly bought and sold for high prices. So this man is basically asking me to hand my mother over as a test subject while talking about finding a cure for her. Hinata speaks seriously. "I have to refuse." Ginji adjusts his glasses. "The inheritance your father left you is probably about to run out, right? How much longer can you manage the hospital expenses? A few more years?" Ginji's words cause him to pause. This was the issue that he was worried about as well. He lowers his voice. "And Hinata, with an inferior artifact like yours, you will never be able to make enough money to support your family." Hinata clenches his fists, not letting Ginji's words get to him. "Even if that's true, I have to refuse." Hinata speaks resolutely. "I will definitely protect my family, because it was the last promise I made to my father." He repeats, as I said earlier, "Please don't mention this to my sister." Ginji pats his head. "Of course, I wouldn't want Hikari to hate me." Ginji tosses his can into the trash. Turning his back, he says, "Anyway, if you change your mind, contact me." Leaving Hinata there, he clicks his tongue and walks away. Hinata returns to his sister and mother's room. He tells himself, I have to protect my family in place of my father. Hikari sees him return. Big brother, what was that conversation about? Hinata doesn't tell the truth. It's a secret. He puts in even more effort to reach his goal. To do that, I have to join a good guild and earn enough money to protect my family. He approaches his mother's bed and sits down. Looking at her, Hinata's determination grows. I have to become stronger than I am now. A moment later, he walks out of the hospital and joins the crowd on the street. Hinata checks the time. The school gates are still open. He strides forward, confident with his decision. This isn't the time to rest. Let's skip the rest. A sound comes from an alley he passes. Hinata glances over. Isn't that our school uniform? Inside the alley, there is a group of people. One of them is saying, It's okay. Just come with us and we'll pay you. He recognizes the girl. Isn't that Yakumo Akane from my class? She throws off the guy's hand. I told you, I don't need money. Hinata puts his hands in his pockets and continues walking. It's not important to me anyway. In the alley, the man continues. But it's a little late to pretend like it's not important, right? The big guys are waiting. Akane doesn't understand. What are you talking about? A female voice from behind her pipes up. Don't play dumb. Are you really pretending you don't know? A guy with a white cap moves closer. You've never done it before, Akane says, annoyed. I don't understand what you guys are saying. The guy with the orange cap grabs her wrist. It's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. I've heard that from others who know you. He leans closer. Would there be a problem if that spread around the school? When she doesn't respond, he continues. It's okay, just hang out with us for a bit and then we'll let you go. You might even earn some decent money. The boss said you're his type. You also have a really nice figure. You trash? Akane's face darkens. She turns and spits in his face. The man with the orange cap is stunned. She raises her middle finger, saying coldly, Get lost! The two girls behind him burst out laughing. He becomes even more angry. That little bitch is really strong. He grabs her collar. Don't pretend to be innocent. Come with us. Akane pushes him away. Don't touch me. I've never done this before. He doesn't let her go and reaches out to grab her. It doesn't matter. Just come with me. A hand reaches out before he can touch Akane. Hinata grabs his hand. Akane is stunned. She recognizes him. Hinata! The man with the orange cap pulls his hand back. Who the hell are you? Isn't that our school uniform? He looks familiar. One of the girls behind him says mockingly. Isn't that him? The guy everyone says is the weakest in Class E, the one with the cosplay-like artifact, right? The man looks at him with contempt. I know him. He's the one who caused that broadcast incident during the exam. The man with the orange cap doesn't want to argue. Sorry, but we have business with Akane here. Can you move out of the way? Hinata remains standing there, blocking Akane. He gets annoyed that Hinata won't move. Without saying anything, he swings his hand. You little classy kid, who do you think you are? Akane panics. Can't you see? These guys are from Class C. You're messing with people you can't handle. The man's fist comes and Hinata easily dodges, grabbing his hand. The man with the orange cap loses balance and falls. Without hesitating, Hinata raises his knee and hits him hard. Hinata leans in and presses his elbow into him. The sound of pain echoes through the alley. Akane stares at the scene before her, astonished. The man with the orange cap is defeated, lying on the ground. Hinata stands up and looks at the others. At the Valkyria Academy Kickboxing Club, students are diligently training. A fitness instructor is helping a female student with her technique. He encourages, That's it. Again, let out a loud, Ki. The female student responds, Yes, sir. In the distance, Minase Shizuku is also sparring. She adopts a fighting stance, her focus absolute. Her intensity causes her opponent to hesitate. Her senior, Takahashi, quickly throws a punch, but Minase Shizuku immediately ducks, dodging his attack. She jumps, attempting a kick, but just as her foot is next to his face, causing him to flinch and close his eyes, Minase Shizuku stops her kick in mid-air. She gently lowers her leg, sparing her senior. Takahashi, still a little wary, says, I lost. You were really amazing. Minase Shizuku bows her head. Thank you for sparring with me, Takahashi. Senpai? Takahashi scratches his head. I didn't expect it, but your martial arts skills are incredible, he praises further. I've heard that your artifact is top tier too. You're really diligent. Minase Shizuku turns away. There is always room for improvement. Takahashi, confused, asks, Room for improvement? She wipes sweat from her face. Yes, that's my goal, she adds. Well, for now, it's just, Minase continues, a humble goal to excel in martial arts since I have nothing else to boast about. Meanwhile, Asahi Hinata is fighting a group of Class C students to protect Yakuno Akane. One of the guys he hit is sprawled on the ground. Yakuno Akane is surprised by his strength. she thinks. Why? Hinata was so weak that he couldn't even fight back against Takayuki. Suddenly, another Class C student rushes toward Hinata, yelling, "You bastard!" Asahi Hinata quickly grabs his hand and tries to throw him. The Class C student is immediately thrown to the ground. But at that moment, a black-haired student jumps out, grabbing Asahi Hinata in a chokehold from behind. He yells, "Damn it, you jerk!" But Asahi Hinata quickly delivers a powerful elbow to his gut, causing him to double over in pain. Asahi Hinata takes advantage, getting behind the black-haired student, ready to deliver another blow. He kicks him squarely on the head. Yakuno Akane, who has been watching this whole time, smiles with delight. She looks at Asahi Hinata, who is fighting 3 Class C students alone, and admires. He's so strong, she finally understands. I get it now. Hinata only seemed weak because of his awful artifact. Without it, he's actually very strong. At this moment, Asahi Hinata looks down at the black-haired student and asks, "Want to continue?" The black-haired student is scared, trembling as he says, "Take this." In a corner, Asahi Hinata doesn't notice. The guy he hit with a pellet gun is now moving, wanting to do something. He generates an artifact, angrily thinking. "This arrogant behavior," the pellet gun mutters, "damn it," in his mind, and fires a shot of air at Asahi Hinata. Asahi Hinata turns his head, finally noticing the attack. He quickly uses his hand to block the force of the artifact. However, the power is too strong, and Asahi Hinata is pushed backward. He scrapes his hands against the ground, creating bloody streaks as he stops himself from being pushed away any further. The pellet gun, noticing that Hinata is not injured, clicks his tongue. "Did I miss a little, Asahi?" Hinata looks at his hand in confusion. Passers-by now notice the commotion in the alley and start talking. What's going on? People begin to murmur, "Was that a scary artifact just now? I think we should call the police." The comments make the pellet gun wary. The 2 girls in the alley are worried and tell him, "Hey, you better run. If the police catch you, you're done for." The Class C group helps each other up and leaves, the pellet gun cursing. "Damn it," he yells. "You'll pay for this," before running. But Asahi Hinata is still quietly looking at his hand. Yakuno Akane asks him, worried, "Are you okay? You took a direct hit?" Asahi Hinata replies, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." However, he's wondering, almost no damage. Did it hit a less vulnerable spot? Seeing that everything is over, he turns to leave, saying, "Well, I'm leaving." But Yakuno Akane calls out, "Wait a minute, aren't you going to ask why I was fighting?" Asahi Hinata looks back, confused. "Do you want me to ask?" Yakuno Akane bows her head, embarrassed. "Not really," he replies. "Then I won't. Everyone has things they don't want to talk about." Yakuno Akane sighs. "Then at least tell me why you helped me." I've never helped you before." At that moment, Asahi Hinata turns his head, looking at something. He points at the bouquet of flowers she's holding. "Those flowers?" he asks. "Are you going to the hospital to visit someone? You should go before it gets too late." Yakuno Akane is touched by his sensitivity. She looks at his back as he walks away, thinking, "I thought you were pathetic for always getting beaten without fighting back." But, she blushes. "You know what? You're actually a pretty nice guy." The next day, Asahi Hinata is going to school as usual. Suddenly, someone pats him on the shoulder saying, "Tada, it's Yakuno Akane," who says cheerfully, "Hi, Hinata." He is surprised, but responds, "Oh, hi." Yakuno Akane waves her hand. "I forgot to thank you yesterday. Thank you for saving me." Other students around them ask, "Huh? What? What happened?" But Yakuno doesn't explain, saying vaguely, "Yeah, that kind of thing." Suddenly, a gun-like artifact fires a burst of air at Asahi Hinata. He doesn't have time to react and is hit directly in the head. He is thrown back, landing on the ground. It turns out to be the Class C group from yesterday. The pellet gun raises his artifact, saying, "Hey, you're late," he says with ill intent. "Thanks for yesterday, by the way. Did I mention we go to the same school?" Kaori Minamura, Yakuno Akane's friend, says excitedly. "Wow, that Hinata kid. What did he do to become their target?" But Yakuno Akane is worried. She steps forward. "Wait a minute. If you guys have something to say it to me." The pellet gun says, "We don't have anything to say to you. Move aside." He approaches Asahi Hinata. "Yesterday, we were interrupted by some meddlers, but here at school, we can do whatever we want without punishment." Asahi Hinata sits up and says, "You guys sound just like the classy losers." The guy in the tall cap gets angry. He immediately slaps Asahi Hinata hard across the face. "Don't put me in the same group as those trash," Asahi Hinata cries out in pain. "Ah!" Annoyed, he tries to kick back, but a giant hand stops his kick. "It's the big guy. It's useless," he says smugly. "With such a terrible artifact, you're no match for me." The giant hand grabs Asahi Hinata's leg, preventing him from retaliating. The hand quickly lifts Asahi Hinata up. The pellet gun faces the upside-down Hinata and says, "Blame your past. I definitely won't spare you until graduation." As he is gloating, he's suddenly shot in the back of the neck. It was Yakuno Akane using her own artifact. "Stop it already, you're such a pathetic loser." Her friend, Kaori Minamura, is shocked. "Oh, wait, Akane!" The pellet gun turns around, grinding his teeth. "Unbelievable," he says to Yakuno Akane. "A terrifying artifact capable of compressing and firing air, huh? Even if they look the same, their performance is very different." The pellet gun raises his artifact at Asahi Hinata. His voice takes on a dangerous tone. "Do you want me to demonstrate here?" He immediately fires his artifact at Hinata's stomach, sending him flying backwards. Asahi Hinata falls to the ground, groaning in pain. Yakuno Akane cries out in panic. "You, what are you doing?" But the pellet gun just scoffs. "Don't make such a fuss, I'm just teaching him a lesson." While the two continue arguing, two new figures appear, Kurimura Takayuki and Hagane. They have also noticed the commotion. Asahi Hinata is struggling to sit up. He feels his head and thinks, "Ah, I don't feel any pain," he thinks, "just like yesterday. How is this possible when I'm not wearing my armor?" He realizes something. Maybe what's evolving isn't the armor, but me. Asahi Hinata continues to analyze in his head if the status window is displaying my own abilities. At that moment, the pellet gun, noticing that he's standing up, says, confused, "Huh, was I too soft on him?" Suddenly, Asahi Hinata yells, "Revenge!" He now has an immense power surging through his body. He is enveloped in blue energy and his eyes change. Asahi Hinata dashes forward, ready to take on the Class C students. He thinks, "I'm no longer." He confidently throws a punch, thinking only one thing, the weakest among the weak. As Asahi Hinata unleashes a powerful punch at the Class C students, the guy in white quickly uses his artifact to block it. But the force of the punch is so strong that he's taken by surprise. Asahi Hinata easily sends him flying. Kurimura Takayuki and Hagane, witnessing the big guy being smashed into the wall, are shocked. No one can believe their eyes. The pellet gun thinks in fear, "What's going on? That giant arm can stop a charging rhino." He turns to look at Asahi Hinata, completely unharmed, thinking, "No, it's more than that. How is he still okay after taking a direct hit from my terrifying artifact?" Suddenly, Asahi Hinata notices something. The big guy has sat up. He moans, "That hurts." The pellet gun asks anxiously, "Are you okay?" To their surprise, the big guy is fine, chuckling. "I was just shocked by the surprise attack. I'm completely fine." The pellet gun understands. "Ha, I see now. The terrifying artifact was ineffective because it didn't hit him properly." Asahi Hinata observes everything, thinking, "The power is too weak because the damage is so small. The effectiveness of revenge is also weak." He worries. "What should I do? I don't have any other finishing moves." He adopts a fighting stance, thinking, "I'm so tired of constantly enduring this." Suddenly, their teacher appears behind them. "Hey, what have you guys been doing all morning?" The pellet gun clicks his tongue. "What a pain," he says. No need to continue the fight. Yakuno Akane silently breathes a sigh of relief, but Kaori Minamura furrows her brows as if deep in thought. Then, Kurimura Takayuki finally speaks. "Even though it was nothing, you scared me. Squash a worm and it wiggles, right? Maybe I should be more careful. For now, I'll definitely turn that guy into dust if I have the chance." Haha, but Hagan doesn't think so. "No, this is different. The giant arm is not an artifact that can be stopped that easily." Hagan looks at Asahi Hinata, who is being scolded by the teacher, thinking, "He fought Class C without a scratch. Hinata, he's much stronger than before." During lunch break, everyone rushes to get something to eat. Inside the bathroom, Asahi Hinata looks at his power stats, thinking, "I thought my artifact's power was only to strengthen my armor. But it's not like that, my artifact." He realizes an important fact. It's not just strengthening the armor, it's also making me stronger. Asahi Hinata looks at his strength numbers and wonders, "Does this mean I can use these abilities without the armor? But why?" He crosses his arms, muttering, "Anyway, I'll be wearing the armor, so it doesn't make much of a difference." Asahi Hinata turns the lock on the stall, thinking, "The problem is, I'm lacking in offensive power." As he walks, he worries right now, "I'm lacking a finishing move. How am I supposed to reach the next level?" Suddenly, Kurimura Takayuki's voice makes Asahi Hinata flinch. "Hey, you could have told me you needed to use the restroom." He throws an arm around Hinata's shoulder. "I was about to praise you for this morning." He then shows off his iron hand artifact near Asahi Hinata, complimenting him. "Pretty cool. Then Kurimura Takayuki suddenly delivers a punch to Asahi Hinata's stomach, making him gasp. He whispers, "I was just getting started, and now you've ruined it. Go buy me some food now." Asahi Hinata, taking a blow to the stomach, doesn't show any emotion or react. Hagane, who is watching them, thinks, "Just as I thought, Takayuki hit him directly, but he didn't get hurt like before. He's definitely hiding something." Meanwhile, Hinata looks up at Kurimura Takayuki thinking, "Today, I can't use revenge again." Kurimura Takayuki notices Asahi Hinata's look and asks, "Huh, what's with that face?" Asahi Hinata clenches his fists, thinking, "But if it's me now." Suddenly, a voice interrupts him. "Wait, it's Yakuno Akane," Kurimura Takayuki asks, annoyed. "Huh? What is it?" Yakuno Akane replies, "Not you. I need to talk to Hinata. He's confused." "What? Come to think of it, didn't you defend him this morning?" Kurimura Takayuki approaches Yakuno Akane. "Don't tell me you're going to protect him now." Yakuno Akane retorts, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I needed to talk to him." She crosses her arms, adding, "What? You want to hit me? Even if I'm a girl, don't you think that's a little pathetic?" This comment seems to strike at Kurimura Takayuki's pride. He grits his teeth with resentment. Kurimura Takayuki turns to leave, saying, "Let's go, Hagane." Hagan follows him, saying, "Huh? Okay." After they leave, Yakuno Akane asks, "Asahi Hinata, are you okay?" He finally comes back to his senses. "Oh yeah, I'm fine," she adds. "Just so you know, I'm not on your side. Just deal with Takayuki yourself," Asahi Hinata asks. "Then why did you want to see me?" Yakuno Akane says awkwardly. "I'm the reason why Class C targeted you, right? So I wanted to apologize." Asahi Hinata smiles. "It's okay, I got involved in it myself." His words make Yakuno Akane blush. She smiles happily. Suddenly, she opens up. "My father. He fought monsters from another world on the front lines." But at this point, Yakuno Akane's expression becomes sad. "When I was young, he was defeated by a monster," she continues. "He's been bedridden ever since. Our family situation got worse and worse, as you'd expect." She recalls those terrible days. "My mother had to see many men to make a living, and she started earning money that way. After that, she started to change, her voice monotone. Every day, she brought a different man home," Yakuno Akane continues. "Eventually, she even fell into a cult. She even demanded money from me," she says with great emotion. "I'm grateful that she raised me, but no matter how I think about it, I felt that it was wrong. So, I came to this school to escape." Yakuno Akane forces a smile at Asahi Hinata. "I want to become a great warrior like my father and fight on the front lines to earn money. But, at school, I'm in class. If things continue like this, my future seems very bleak." She remembers when she was getting bullied by the Class C guys. "Anyway, those Class C guys approached me when they learned about my situation. They asked if I needed money." She leans on the railing. "I refused them, but they kept bothering me." That's when Asahi Hinata speaks up. "Why are you telling me this?" Yakuno Akane answers shyly. "Isn't it too much that I dragged you into this without you knowing anything? It wouldn't be good if you misunderstood." She smiles happily. "I think you won't go spreading it around, right?" Asahi Hinata, caught up in her smile, also smiles. Yakuno Akane adds, "Now that I think about it, those Class C guys have been quiet. I thought they would show up during lunch." Asahi Hinata agrees. "Yeah, that's true," Yakuno Akane cautions him. "You should be careful. They harass people even at school," Asahi Hinata teases her. "Look who's talking," she responds. "Don't lump me in with your cosplay stuff or whatever." Yakuno Akane winks before turning to leave. And, "Call me Akane, don't call me you." Asahi Hinata watches her happily and smiles without saying anything. On Kurimura Takayuki's side, he's frustrated and cursing. "Damn it, things were going smoothly." Then that got interrupted. Hagane agrees, right? "Hinata will get cockier if this keeps up." Kurimura Takayuki cracks his knuckles, he says, annoyed. "I should teach him a lesson before it happens again." "Huh?" Hagane replies, smiling. "Yeah, for sure," Kurimura Takayuki says. "Planning. Should we call him to the restroom so we won't be bothered?" Hagan suddenly notices something. He looks at the group below, thinking, Kaori and those Class C guys from this morning. They're staring at each other tensely. Didn't they argue with Akane? But Kaori is walking with Akane. Hagen runs, not thinking. "Sorry, Takayuki. I forgot my wallet. Let's go to the canteen first." Kurimura Takayuki doesn't understand what's happening, huh? "Hey," he furrows his brow. "What is wrong with that guy?" Hagen quickly follows the group of Class C students and Kaori Minamura, thinking, did she tell them off so Akane could be left alone? But that could put Kaori in danger. At that moment, Hagen hears Kaori Minamura say, "Can't do it even though I prepared it all for you." The pellet gun scratches his head saying, "Sorry, I told you, don't drag it out." Kaori Minamura sighs and furrows her brow. "Then what? Don't you know that we're the ones getting punished by the boss? Do you know how many calls I got from him yesterday?" The pellet gun replies, annoyed. "Because you didn't come," he adds. "Plus, we got interrupted by that group of troublesome guys and then..." Akane, she kept refusing us. Kaori Minamura asks in disbelief. What? Really? Akane? Why? The pellet gun says. How would we know? He repeats. Didn't you say that Akane almost got sold to a bar before she escaped to this school? Hagan is surprised by this information. He continues to listen as Kaori Minamura speaks again. But now that she's in Class E, isn't it better that she gives up and returns to her old life? The pellet gun asks, Aren't you and that girl friends? Kaori Minamura replies casually, We are friends. Her expression becomes more sinister. She shows signs of her artifact and laughs. So, I'm being very kind by introducing her to someone who can help. The pellet gun laughs sarcastically. How evil? Kaori Minamura, confused, asks. Huh? What did you say? She rubs her chin. There are many people who need money at this school. I'm just helping. Akane will definitely be grateful. The pellet gun asks. What are you saying? Are you using your artifact to make us think like that? Kaori Minamura answers lightly. I told you, it's not like that. My artifact only makes people listen a little. At best, it just makes them feel better. In a corner where the Class C guys can't see, she uses her artifact in an attempt to influence them. Kaori Minamura laughs wickedly, asking right. The big guy, now charmed, replies, Yeah, that's right. But the pellet gun quickly throws an arm around him. Bringing him back to his senses, he says, Okay, stop using your power on them. More importantly, Kaori Minamura interrupts him. It can't be helped if they lean towards attacking, right? Besides, some monsters from another world are immune to this kind of power, the pellet gun understands. So, you're going to use your power this time, Kaori Minamura smiles. Of course, the pellet gun reminds her. You failed last time. Did you think about whether they'll be summoned this time? Kaori Minamura answers casually. Of course. Hagan, who has been listening, grows more worried. The pellet gun thinks about his boss and says with ill intent, Our boss doesn't understand the concept of limited power. Another life is going to be ruined because of you. Kaori Minamura cuts him off. Shut up, the pellet gun yells. Anyway, meet me there after school tomorrow. Kaori Minamura waves as she leaves, saying, Got it? At that moment, Hagan shivers. Oh, I just overheard something terrible, he thinks. What should I do? There's no way I can stop those Class C guys alone. In the worst-case scenario, their boss might show up. Hagan remembers Kurumura Takayuki and thinks, Takayuki probably won't help me, right? Even if he did, he wouldn't be able to handle them. He remembers the scene of the giant arm getting punched away. Hagan thinks worriedly. What about Hinata? Thinking about Asahi Hinata, he thinks hopefully. If it's him, he can do it. Yakuno Akane sits alone in the classroom packing her bag. She's lost in thought. My dad was a hero. Akane remembers sitting next to her dad on the sofa. Her father smiled brightly and said, I'm not a hero. She, confused at the time, said, That's not true, you're super strong. He closed his eyes and said to her, A hero fights without regard for himself. But I'm different. As long as I can protect my family, that's enough. He smiled brightly and patted her head. A person with a strong spirit will gain power. Remember that, Akane. A massive fire engulfed many buildings. Akane's father is on a stretcher as doctors rush him inside. Emergency! We have to save him at all costs. Akane's mother cries, hugging her tightly. She lies down on her hospital bed as the doctor gives the update. His life is not in danger. But, at that moment, Akane stands by the bed looking at her father with wide eyes. Snow begins to fall as she stands silently at the window. Akane's mother opens the door with a loud bang, making her flinch. She turns around and sees her mother lighting a cigarette. Mom, you can't smoke here. Her mother coldly ignores her. He didn't wake up again today. Huh? No, Akane replies softly. Her mother angrily kicks the bed. What's the point of protecting your family when you couldn't even protect yourself? Akane struggles to restrain her mother, yelling, Stop it! Her mother angrily turns to her. But it's true, right? The hospital fees are too high to ignore. She puts out the cigarette on the table. When you graduate junior high, you'll have to start working then. She turns and leaves the room, leaving Yakuno Akane with a heavy heart. She angrily clenches her clothes. There's a way to curse my father. An image of a glowing snake with a blood-red heart appears in her mind. Somewhere in the world, there is a creature called the Crimson Serpent. It is said to cure many diseases. Akane sits next to her bed, holding a colorful flyer, but it's so rare that no one sells it. There is no other way but to find it myself. At the top of the flyer is written, Valkyria National Academy Admission Guide, the only national warrior training school in the country, Akane thinks. And to do that, her face full of determination. I came here with a purpose and back in the present. After packing up, Akane wonders, what am I doing? She stands up and puts on her bag. When I was placed in Class E, I thought about giving up. She remembers Asahi Hinata's determined look. But if I try my best, will I become like him? As soon as she opens the door, she bumps into Kaori Minamura, who says, "Oh, you're still here, Akane." Her hands are behind her back, as if she's hiding something. Kaori, full of sinister intent, says, "Hey, I wanted to talk to you for a bit." Elsewhere, Hagan is following Asahi Hinata. What should I do? Everyone has gone home already. I need to say something, but after thinking for a moment, he blames himself. Why did I even get involved in this? It has nothing to do with me. Asahi Hinata approaches, making him flinch. "Do you need something?" he asks. He continues, "Takayuki isn't here." Hagane is flustered. Well, he clenches his teeth, saying to himself, "This is my only chance to say something." But he clenches his fists and looks down. "How can I ask for help now? After all the trouble I caused, now I'm asking for help." Asahi Hinata looks at him but doesn't understand. He turns to leave. "If you don't need anything, I'm going." Hagane tries to call out, but still can't say anything. Finally. As he walks away, Hagane just stands there, hesitating. Looking down, Hagane sees Kaori Minamura pulling Akane by the arm. He has a strange feeling about her. There's something weird about her today. Was he influenced by her artifact? Still, Hagane shakes his head. "So what? It doesn't concern me." Suddenly he yells and runs. "Damn it!" Asahi Hinata turns back, confused. In a dimly lit room, a group of people are gathered. Ishijima has his arm around a woman saying, "All right, are we sure about today's plan?" One of the guys replies, Yes, of course." Ishijima seems doubtful. "Are you sure? No mistakes like last time," he continues. "I told you, today we also have Kaori with us, so there shouldn't be a problem," the guy says. "Definitely, you can trust me." Ishijima grins maliciously. "Yeah, we're making good profit thanks to her." Someone enters, causing everyone to turn. Kaori Minamura drags Yakuno Akane in, saying, "It's an honor to have your trust." Ishijima says, "You've arrived." She takes Akane's hand. "Sorry, everyone." When someone questions her, "Didn't you say you wouldn't use your item?" Kaori replies matter-of-factly, "That was the plan. Some things didn't go as I'd hoped." The woman who was sitting with Ishijima earlier approaches Akane. "Is this the girl you mentioned, Ishijima?" "She's too young," Ishijima answers. "Really? I think she's fine, even if she is still a little green." The woman glances at Ishijima. "Are you thinking of keeping her as your own?" He answers, "No matter how cute she is. It's a little too much since she's still so young." Lifting her chin, he smiles. "I'm just playing. I'll be passing her on to the boys later. With a face like that, this girl will definitely be a big hit." Kaori Minamura puts her arm around Akane from behind. Perfect timing. "Akane, you said you wanted this job for money, right?" Akane, who has no awareness, answers, "Yeah, I need money for my dad." Ishijima turns and smirks. "No matter how many times I see it, that artifact is still scary." She laughs insincerely. "Oh, it's nothing big," Ishijima says, trying to act all cute. Then he sighs. "Oh well." Ishijima realizes something and says angrily, "Be more careful, someone's watching you." Kaori Minamura suddenly turns around, surprised. "Huh? Really?" Hagane, hidden behind the wall, panics. "Oh no, they heard me. Why did I follow them? I can't handle someone that strong." He peeks out, assessing the situation. "Should I run?" Kaori Minamura laughs loudly. "Oh, it's just Hagan," Ishijima asks. "Someone you know?" She is about to use her artifact to attack Hagan. "He's a classmate. He's weak." "It's nothing," Kaori Minamura assures him. "You don't need to run, Hagan. Didn't you say you wanted to join our group?" Hagan panics. No, I didn't say that." Kaori Minamura begins to hypnotize him. "You did say it, right?" Hagan is charmed and loses consciousness. He has been hypnotized. "Yeah." Ishijima glances at him. "It'll be a pain if he threatens to expose us later. Make him an accomplice too." Kaori Minamura smiles. "Okay." She turns and orders, "Hagane, help Akane take her clothes off." Hagane answers, "Okay." One of the guys from the group starts the camera. "Okay then, let's start filming." Hagane moves towards Yakuno Akane, his hands beginning to remove her clothes. "I can't move. My body won't do what I want. Why does this always happen to me?" He remembers being bullied by Kuramura Takayuki and his half-hearted sense of justice. Hagan also remembers when he used a chair to hit his classmate. Helpless, he thinks. "I'm always on the side of the bad guys," continuing to undress her. Hagan justifies himself. "The reason why I didn't resist was because it was easier that way. I can always say that I had no choice." Then he remembers Asahi Hinata, his determined eyes. But that guy is always, before he could finish what he was doing, Asahi Hinata descends from above. He kicks Hagane directly in the face, immediately sending him down to the floor. His glasses fly off. Hagan struggles to get up, confused. "Huh? What was that?" Kaori Minamura, panicking, tries to use her power. So you were here as well. Yakuno Akane looks at his back from behind, in her vacant gaze. His strong back is still in front of her. Akane sees a blurry Asahi Hinata standing in front of her. She unconsciously says, "Hinata." He is now full of fury, standing in front of the group. Kaori, holding her magic orb, asks, "Why are you here?" She looks at the figure in front of her, surprised. Hinata Ishijima, standing behind her, asks, "Who is he?" Kaori replies with disdain, "He's my classmate in class." The weakest one, Ishijima scoffs. "The weakest one? What's someone like that doing here?" Kaori quickly answers. "Who knows? I'm wondering the same thing." Ready to use her old trick, Kaori raises her magic orb, intending to hypnotize Hinata as she did Hagane. She smiles sinisterly. "Temptation. But now that I'm here, I don't want to do anything to you, Hinata. You want to join our group too, right?" She expects Hinata to quickly fall under her spell, but he simply bows his head. He remains calm as he asks, "I'm going to ask you something," he questions. "You and Akane are friends, right?" Kaori cuts him off with another question. "Huh? What if we're not?" Hinata patiently continues. "Then you also know about her family situation, right?" Kaori laughs, smug. "I know it very well. That's why I introduced her to this job. Aren't I nice?" At that moment, Hagane weakly tries to get up. He says, trembling, Forget it." He points at Kaori, exposing her. Akane said she didn't want to do this job, but Kaori used her artifact. Seeing her plan exposed, Kaori thinks angrily, "Damn it, looks like he got his head smacked hard enough to wake up." Kaori looks at Hinata, who is still not showing any signs of being hypnotized. She wonders, "But this guy, how long is it going to take for my artifact to work on him?" Hagen struggles to get up, adjusting his glasses as he suspiciously asks Hinata, "Why did you come here?" "I didn't call for you," Hinata explains. "You were going to ask for something, right?" Seeing Hagane's pitiful state, Hinata says, "If I were Takayuki, maybe, I would have listened to what your request was, even if that request seems difficult to say. I'll listen to you, Hagane." Hearing these sincere words feels a wave of unprecedented emotion. As he says this, the group on the other side makes a move. Poof! The pellet gun laughs mockingly. "Are you playing hero cosplay? You've got the wrong idea. You know, you managed to escape from us twice, but..." He changes his hand into a pellet gun weapon. He says confidently, "This will be your last." The past flashes before Hinata's eyes once more. Akane's tragic circumstances, the accident, her father bedridden, and her mother, unable to bear the hardship raging in the hospital room. She screams in despair. What good is it to say as long as the family is safe, you can't even save your own life? Akane grabs her mother, trying to stop her. "Stop it," Akane's mother says angrily. "But what I'm saying is true, right? The hospital bills are too high. It's impossible to ignore them." She puts out her cigarette and orders, "After graduating from middle school, you'll also have to work to help pay the bills." Then, she quickly leaves. Akane still wants to find a way to heal her father, she thinks to herself. Somewhere in the world, there is a creature called Basilisk. It is said that its heart can cure all diseases. Everything is not easy for Akane, who is frustrated, but it's so rare that no one sells it. There's no other choice. I have to go and find it myself. She knows there is only one sliver of hope, and to find it, she has to go to a place, the National Academy, the only school in the country to train warriors serving the country. At this moment, the pellet gun aims his weapon at Hinata. There won't be a third time. Hinata just stands there, without reacting. The bullet comes flying, and Hinata simply raises his arm in front of his face to block it. The bullet bounces off, not leaving a scratch on Hinata. Watching this, Kaori is shocked. She can't believe her eyes. Ishijima frowns with displeasure. The pellet gun is pale with fear. Huh? He can't accept the truth. Is this guy a beggar? I swing my hand and he just happens to block it again. Ishijima responds coldly. Are you stupid? It's not just luck. Ishijima looks at Hinata. Not so simple, wondering. What is his energy? Kaori is surprised. I thought he didn't have any abilities. Ishijima is cautious. There's no artifact without power. He's hiding something, Kaori, unwilling to accept that she's weak in front of such a useless person, says to herself, but why? Why doesn't my power work on him? She points her magic orb at Hinata again, hoping for a miracle no matter how strong he is. It has to work after a while, right? At that moment, the control panel on Hinata's wrist flashes. A message appears. Willpower enhancement of 1 activated, resists unidentified mind control. It turns out that this ability has been helping Hinata resist Kaori's artifact. Suddenly, a giant bronze-colored hand slams down from behind Hinata. Hinata jumps, dodging the attack. The giant hand hits the ground, scattering rocks everywhere. The big guy clicks his tongue in anger. Tich! He noticed. After being attacked so many times, Hinata is finally angry. Why are you all like this? He clenches his fists and says firmly, power is not a tool to harm others, he yells, lecturing them. Artifacts are meant to protect everyone from the monsters from another dimension. Hearing this, Ishijima can't help but smirk. Hehe, his cronies laugh along. Ha ha ha, this guy is a comedian. Seeing their mocking attitude, Hinata is stunned. Ishijima rubs his face and says in a low voice, Hey, you really don't understand how this world works, do you? He says, only a select few can join government-affiliated teams. Most people can't make a living with their artifacts alone. Ishijima continues to analyze. But they're still the artifacts we worked so hard to get, right? Isn't it wasteful not to use them to earn money? Hinata can't hold back anymore. His whole body changes. His artifact surrounds him with a dazzling light. He retorts, if it's for money, then... He looks at Akane, who is being taken advantage of. He says accusingly, do you really think it's right to target people who are trying for a better tomorrow? Ishijima laughs mockingly. Of course. He becomes arrogant, speaking like a typical villain. As long as I'm not the one suffering, I don't care about anyone else. Do you think I'm the only one who lives that way in this world? He puts his hand on Kaori's shoulder, as if using her as a living example. He boasts, we're willing to sell out our friends for profit. Akane, although suppressed by the artifact, can still understand what's happening. Heartbroken by her friend's betrayal, tears well up in her eyes. Ishijima gloats. That's a smart choice. He laughs with satisfaction. Working your butt off without being sure if you can join a team or not. That's what only idiots do. Hinata grimaces in anger at this despicable thought. He runs towards Ishijima, ready to teach him a lesson. He throws a punch, but the giant hand appears out of nowhere, blocking his attack. The big guy says gleefully, too bad! Ishijima scoffs. I thought you had some skills. Looks like this is all you've got. He looks at Hinata, scornful. Let me tell you why you're the prey in this world. It's because you're too weak. Trembling with rage, Hinata clenches his fist and gathers his strength. He throws a powerful punch at the giant hand. At that moment, Hinata's inner rage explodes. Why do you people have to bully the weak to be satisfied? The more he thinks, the angrier he gets. So many people are struggling like him and Akane. Yet these guys, as if backed into a corner, Hinata is about to burst. He won't tolerate this bullying anymore. Do they really think they can use others just because they are weaker? Hinata gathers his strength and lunges forward with a punch. Don't underestimate me. The control panel shows a notification. Your rage has triggered a reaction. Forced upgrade initiation. An enormous amount of energy is charged, sending the giant hand flying back. The big guy, not expecting such an attack, is thrown against the wall. The group is shocked by the power. Hinata asks for confirmation. So weakness is a sin, right? Refusing to show mercy, he yells with fury. Then I'll give you back that very same statement. A new mode is activated. Artifact, Rage Armor. This allows the user to increase their power with rage. His body glows red. He warns them, I'm going to become stronger than you until scum like you disappear. The Rage Armor activated grants Hinata incredible power. The energy radiating from him makes Ishijima and his group hesitate to underestimate him. Hagan, surprised, notes. The armor changed. Ishijima thinks it's Kaori's artifact at work. Is this how her energy works? But then, he senses something amiss. No, that's not it. Witnessing Hinata's form, Kaori next to him is pale with fear. Using speed faster than the eye can follow, Hinata suddenly appears in front of Ishijima. Ishijima is shocked by his speed. Thankfully, he manages to dodge the lightning-fast attack. Even then, Ishijima couldn't dodge completely and a scratch appears on his face. Ishijima angrily kicks back. Ura! But Hinata quickly moves away to dodge the attack. Kaori, clutching her artifact, fearfully whispers, Suppression! Yet he's still so strong. Ishijima surprised? Figures, he's being pushed to the brink. He's becoming stronger. Still, he refuses to believe that Hinata is stronger than him. That's just impossible. He bends down, picks up a water bottle by his feet and says, Don't be so arrogant. He opens the bottle and pours the water directly onto his artifact, speaking mysteriously. I quit, but I used to be in Class B. Water flows out from the artifact, Ishijima says smugly. From the start, the difference between my power and yours was too great. He swings his arm, sending 3 blasts of water towards Hinata. Hinata easily intercepts the attacks. Ishijima begins to worry. Under normal circumstances, my hand should have broken. He's no longer as calm as he was before. Moreover, my movements have become much better than before. What the hell is happening? Still, he thinks of Hinata's weakness and says confidently, But you have no experience. He manipulates the water from the ground, causing it to surge up from under Hinata. Hinata, caught off guard by this surprise move, the water, like a snake, quickly wraps around Hinata's body. Ishijima says arrogantly. This is the power of restraint. Having trapped him, he repeatedly blasts him with water bullets, yelling, "Think carefully. Hit directly." Hinata coughs up blood in pain. Ishijima asks smugly. Feels like being pressed down by a steel bar, right? Pouring more water on his artifact, he self-indulgently explains, "My artifact is very suitable for dealing with guys like you. I just need to splash a bit of water and I can use it freely." Having fully charged his artifact, he concentrates the water into a powerful attack. You chose the wrong opponent. Then he shoots a blast of water at Hinata. Since he's trapped, he has no way to dodge it, but suddenly, something flies and deflects Ishijima's attack. Ishijima turns around and realizes, "You've regained your senses." Akane, wielding the smoking gun, says powerfully, "Did you think you could control me forever, you moron?" At the same time, she turns to Hagane, apologizing shyly. "Sorry, I didn't think and just acted. You're the one who helped me regain my senses, right?" She remembers that she had also slapped him earlier. Kaori, seeing Akane has recovered, is surprised, huh? She tries to use her artifact again to control Akane once more, but not giving Kaori any chance. Akane attacks first. The gunshot sends Kaori's magic orb flying. Uncertain, she asks, "Kaori, why did you do this?" Kaori laughs ugly and replies, "Isn't it obvious it's because I need money?" Akane is shocked by this answer. Kaori's expression darkens. What is with that expression? Pushed to the limit, she begins to mock Akane. "Your artifact is no different than garbage. You should be grateful to me." She breaks out in laughter while Akane trembles with anger, clenching the gun until her hand is shaking. Suddenly, a gunshot from somewhere attacks Akane. The pellet gun says shamelessly, "This is the punishment for daring to resist Class A." Hinata is still trapped and Akane has just been attacked. Both of them are seemingly unable to fight back. Ishijima approaches Hinata and says, "It's over." He looks at him and grins. "You don't need to worry. I'll make sure your brain is cleaned." He turns to Kaori and praises her. If it weren't for Kaori, things would have gotten much worse. "Huh?" Akane calls out softly, her voice trembling. "Hinata!" She struggles to sit up. She's calmer than ever. "Damn it, I can't take revenge myself, just like what they said. I'm useless." Suddenly she says loudly with confidence and resolve, "From now on, I'll try my best. I'll definitely become stronger than I am now." She tries her best to stand, whispering so that she clenches her artifact. She fires her gun. Ishijima blocks the bullet with his arm easily thanks to her attack. Hinata is suddenly released from his restraints. Ishijima is shocked. "What?" Akane smiles faintly. "Now can I rely on you?" Hinata smiles slightly. He is filled with a formidable power, and he replies firmly. "Leave it to me," Ishijima says smugly. "Are you stupid? If I can trap you once, I can trap you again." He repeats his move, summoning water to restrain Hinata. At this moment, Hinata says slowly, "Revenge." With his power, he easily breaks free from the restraints. Ishijima is stunned. "Huh?" Hinata bows his head, saying with emphasis, "I've been listening to you the whole time, going on about how we're all trash, and that Classy are just a bunch of useless people being repeatedly attacked by Hinata." Ishijima panics. "What is this?" Hinata says calmly. "Even if we are at the bottom of the pit, we can still try our best to climb up." Ishijima recognizes something has changed in the attacks. Something is different. Stepping on the water bottle, he realizes that his attacks are useless against him. Why are they not working? Soon, he's cornered. Hinata, filled with rage, stands before him. He has no intention of showing mercy and says to Ishijima, "You said you were going to show the trash what real power is, right?" Ishijima, in panic, sees no way out. Asahi Hinata, in a blur of motion, slams Ishijima into the ground, leaving the others stunned. Hikari is shocked, watching him. Ishijima looks up in terror, seeing Hinata about to deliver another punch. Witnessing Asahi Hinata's ferocity, Yakuno Akane yells, "Hinata!" He calms down and stands up. Ishijima breathes a sigh of relief. Having narrowly escaped, the pellet gun standing behind him says to him in an attempt to calm him down, "Senpai, don't joke around." Then, he immediately changes his attitude and raises his gun. "Damn you!" Asahi Hinata turns, stunned. The pellet gun fires at him, but he just raises one hand and blocks it. Hinata angrily walks towards the pellet gun. He, now terrified, thinks, "This is just a coincidence, right?" He is horrified when Hinata grabs his collar and lifts him up. Hinata says to him angrily, "Don't mess with us anymore," he yells, furious. "I don't have time to play around with you guys." The pellet gun stutters. He closes his eyes in fear. "I get it." Asahi Hinata, having heard him, immediately drops him. The pellet gun falls to the ground, losing his balance, ignoring Ishijima, who is lying motionless, and the pellet gun, who is trembling with fear. Asahi Hinata turns and walks away. Hikari, scared, watches as he passes her. Yakuno Akane and Hagane, standing outside, breathe a sigh of relief. She remembers when her father patted her head, saying, "A person with a strong will is very powerful. Akane, you have to remember that." Yakuno Akane looks up at him, seemingly moved. Then she smiles brightly and gives Asahi Hinata a high five. Outside, someone wearing headphones is standing near the door, talking on the phone. He says to the person on the other end, "The results are surprising. What are you planning to do next, Principal?" Tsushima Atsushi sits in his office, his hands clasped on the desk, staring at a tablet. He watches everything unfold on the screen and says sternly, "Those who exceed the school's boundaries don't deserve to stay. Handle it as you usually do," the voice on the other line replies. "Understood?" The principal sits in thought, investigating those troublemakers in the school, and yet the results were better than I expected. He looks at the students on the screen. "I'm looking forward to the next evaluation exam." Warm light shines down on the school. Inside, a crowd of students gathers around the notice board. On the board is a notice that reads, "Expulsion notice. As of today, the following students will be expelled. 1C Koichi Tanuma, 1C Tsunayoshi Daimon, 1C Tomoharu Shuga, 1A Kaori Minamura. Expelled students are prohibited from entering Valkyria school grounds. If you attempt to trespass, school officials will report illegal intrusion to the police." Yakuno Akane, standing behind him, asks shyly, "Did you report them?" He replies matter-of-factly, "No, why would I do that? They've always been like that. Maybe they've been watched before." She continues talking with him, while two of their friends are walking up. Besides Kaori, all the others have bad reputations at school. Kurimura Takayuki loudly complains. "What's all the noise about?" Hagane answers awkwardly. Who knows?" He turns to leave, saying, "Boring, I'm hungry. Let's go to the canteen." Hagan turns to follow him. "Okay," Asahi Hinata says to Yakuno Akane. "You can go talk to him if you want," she replies. "He probably has his own reasons yesterday when I thanked him." She remembers Hagan saying, "I didn't do anything. He just said that he didn't do anything and then left." He looks back at her and says, "I understand." Asahi Hinata walks away, and Yakuno Akane looks at him in surprise. "Where are you going?" He turns back and waits for her, to the cafeteria. It's lunch break. She follows happily. "Okay?" Asahi Hinata, confused, asks, "Why are you following me? You brought your lunch to school, right?" This causes her to become flustered. "Huh?" Yakuno Akane becomes very enthusiastic. "Let's eat together. We don't have any friends anyway," Asahi Hinata says, surprised. "Oh, okay." The two eat together on a bench under a tree in the schoolyard. Yakuno Akane drops a piece of her food and asks, "An artifact that can add to your power? Aren't they only able to enhance existing abilities?" He replies while chewing on his bread. "Then I'd have to have the ability in the first place, right?" She turns to him. "Maybe you already have it, but you haven't discovered it yet." He denies it. "No way," Asahi Hinata thinks. "I was too busy fighting yesterday and forgot to check." Now that the new armor has been unlocked, the upgrade list has also been updated. He thinks of the system screen that displayed his improved state, enhanced physique, skill, rage fist. He continues thinking, "Mostly, it's focused on attack. This rage armor is just showing me the gaps in my offensive abilities." Images of the different armors from the past appear before his eyes. It seems that strong emotions trigger updates. "I don't know what the next conditions are, but if this continues, the armor will keep evolving." Asahi Hinata chews, tightly gripping the wrapper. Determined, "I can still become stronger." Yakuno Akane sets down her chopsticks and food. "Hinata," she says, rising with a determined look on her face. "Let me train with you." She remembers the pellet gun, looking sad. "I probably can't become as strong as you right away, but at least I can become stronger than that guy." She bows her head in embarrassment. "I'm still trying," but Asahi Hinata cuts her off. "I know." Yakuno Akane looks up, embarrassed. He continues, "You use your artifact. Your physical ability complements the skill's characteristics and effectiveness, right?" An image of her, injured in the fight, flashes in his mind. "The fact that you were only slightly injured after that attack is proof of your efforts." Yakuno Akane blushes. She's very embarrassed that he acknowledged her. She yells happily, "Even then, I still need to train more." Yakuno Akane puts her hand out towards him. "As I promised, I'll become stronger." Asahi Hinata listens intently as she continues. "And," she smiles brightly, "thank you for helping me yesterday." He smiles back at her. The two grab each other's hands. Asahi Hinata says, "Yeah, someone on the upper floor watches everything." Minase Shizuku looks down with disdain. "Those weaklings seem to like each other." She turns to talk to someone else. "Have you thought about it?" Minase Shizuku, along with her cronies, looks smugly at the person facing them. "About the re-evaluation exam. If you join our group, it will be beneficial." Shirohane Sachi replies coldly. I refuse. Hearing this, they turn to leave. Minase Shizuku tries to persuade her again. I understand, if you change your mind, let me know. There's still some time. Shirohanasachi doesn't react at all. Quietly watching them leave, she thinks, those three have terrible reputations for associating with the expelled students. Shirohanasachi wonders. Shizuku must also know about that. Does she really not care who anyone is? As long as they're strong? She looks down below at Asahi Hinata and Yakuno Akane, who are sitting on the bench. They're eating and laughing together intimately. She thinks of Minase Shizuku and says to herself, Shizuku, this is too risky. The sky is clear and the sun is shining. Loud sounds echo, disrupting the tranquility. A teacher is shouting among a group of students who are training. First, train your bodies. The man is Classy's homeroom teacher, Takashima Gonzo. He continues. There are many ways to develop your abilities and artifacts, but if you improve your physical strength, your other aspects will also improve. While the students are training hard, pushing weights to the point of exhaustion, he encourages. Classy is lagging behind the other classes, but you still have a chance. There are students practicing martial arts, punching and kicking, Takashima Gonzo calls out, to prove that the previous class placement was a mistake. Show them your potential. Asahi Hinata listens, clenching his fists with determination. Kurimura Takayuki, behind him, wipes away sweat, looking at him with resentment. Inside the classroom, the teacher stands at the podium and begins his announcement. The re-evaluation exam will be held soon. Yakuno Akane listens with concern as he continues. If you cannot reverse the situation this time, Asahi Hinata and the students next to him look serious. You will have no hope of escaping Class E. Takashima Gonzo, full of enthusiasm, raises his fist. But don't be discouraged just because your artifact levels are low. He begins to analyze. The exam doesn't just rely on artifact abilities alone. Physical strength and analytical abilities are also important. Then he suddenly becomes serious. This year, group work is mandatory. Kurimura Takayuki, sitting at the back of the class, says loudly, displeased. Group work. Everyone around them starts whispering, what does that mean? Hagane, at the front, asks anxiously, how will we form the groups? He writes 2 to 5 members on the board and circles it, a maximum of 5 people per group. And the members, Takashima Gonzo pauses. The students are stunned at what he is about to say. You have to form the groups yourselves, regardless of class or grade level. Kurimura Takayuki clenches his teeth with anger. He yells, you've got to be kidding me. Who would form a group with Class E students? Takashima Gonzo is unfazed. He answers quickly. Forming teams is also a part of the test. The school aims to recommend the best warriors to the government. Affiliated teams. To be on a team, members must cooperate with each other harmoniously. He points towards the sky. Class A is not expected to do much. If you want to escape from this class, you must work much harder. He's frustrated. Everything fell apart because I was placed in Class E. Then Kurimura Takayuki angrily glares at Asahi Hinata, the root of the problem. When school ends, everyone starts heading home in groups, talking amongst themselves. Yakuno Akane asks wide-eyed, so what do you plan to do now? Asahi Hinata, opening a bread wrapper, looks at her. What do you mean? Do what? She says matter-of-factly. Find members for the exam group. 2 frontliners and 2 rearguards would be best. As the two are talking, Kurimura Takayuki approaches and calls out, Hey! Making Asahi Hinata look up, surprised. He says arrogantly, Who would be stupid enough to form a group with the weakest guy in class? This makes Hagane, who is next to him, look away, embarrassed. Yakuno Akane looks at him saying, annoyed. What do you want? Kurimura Takayuki answers. Oh! He grabs Asahi Hinata's collar. I think you've been getting too cocky lately. His face becomes conceited as he says to Asahi Hinata, Go buy me lunch. Got it? All his actions make Hinata frown with discomfort. Yakuno Akane, unable to stand this scene, says angrily, Go buy it yourself. Kurimura Takayuki becomes angry. What did you say? He releases Hinata, looks at her and asks, You've been hanging out with this guy a lot lately. I heard that Kaori was expelled. Are you really planning on joining his group? Yakuno Akane answers without hesitation. Yes, that's the plan. Asahi Hinata turns his head to look at her. Her face is now full of confidence. He's much better than you. You don't have any teamwork skills. Kurimura Takayuki is so angered by her words that veins pop out on his face. He asks, infuriated, What did you say? Then, Yakuno Akane turns to Hagane and asks, You agree, right, Hagane? Making him panic. He glances at Hagane threateningly. You agree too, you dog? Hagane stammers nervously. Ah! Unable to look him directly in the eye, he avoids looking at him. No way. Asahi Hinata leans back casually, and Yakuno Akane sips her drink listening to him. I'll join Takayuki's group. It's the smarter choice. She puts down her juice box. Oh, is that so? Kurimura Takayuki says proudly. That's right. He scowls at Hagane but doesn't say anything. Yakuno Akane closes her lunchbox. Then you two should discuss your plan of attack for the upcoming exam. I don't have time to entertain you two forever. She leaves, calling back. Let's go somewhere else, Hinata. He stands up and follows her. Okay. The two walk side by side through the school corridor. Yakuno Akane says regretfully, looks like we won't be able to bring Hagane along. She continues to talk non-stop. It would be good if we had someone else in our group. He, walking behind her, asks, are you okay with being in a group with me? Yakuno Akane looks at him, slightly annoyed with his question. What? Of course I am. You should be more confident in your own abilities then. She smiles brightly and punches his chest. Other people will still think you're weak. He smiles back involuntarily at Yakuno Akane, Shirohane Sachi. In the distance, overhears what he said. Okay. She looks at the two for a moment. Shirohane Sachi looks thoughtful. She looks at Asahi Hinata, assessing him, thinking, he's got a different vibe than before. Then she smiles. This guy is interesting. In front of the Class 1 classroom, someone yells loudly, you bastard! Kurumura Takayuki kicks the chairs in front of him. How dare he look down on me? Hagane, standing next to him, tries to calm him down. Takayuki, calm down. He bows his head, clenching his fists and sighing. Then, Kurumura Takayuki calls out, Hagan, he answers, afraid. Yeah, many people were seriously injured and died in the previous exam, right? Hagan says, frightened. Yeah, Kurumura Takayuki suddenly laughs wickedly. Images of the harsh previous exam appear. The re-evaluation exam is held in a D-level dungeon, which is equivalent to a real battle, so if an accident happens, it'll be a valid reason. Kurumura Takayuki sits on a desk and says his thoughts. But in reality, it seems that most of the accidents were caused on purpose. Hagan is shocked and frightened. He clutches the desk. Maybe there'll be some this year as well. Kurumura Takayuki's face is full of danger, an unfortunate accident. Someone is sitting in front of a computer screen typing away. Then, that person hits a key forcefully. The screen displays, by the way, Valkyria has a re-evaluation next week. A student on his way home also sees those messages. Chicken, thanks for your contributions to the country. Haha, another student comments. Is that guy still going to school? A third student asks, who are you talking about? A person sitting on a bench in a park is also watching the messages. The student says, the guy who had the broadcast incident when he was naked. An old man is surprised and recognizes it. That's right. Haha. A white-collar worker joins the conversation. A giraffe comments, I guess he's still there. A husky asks, how do you know? The giraffe replies, the unofficial student list has already been released. The student looks confused. Why is it unofficial? Someone else looks at the list mentioned by the giraffe. Every year during the re-evaluation exam, illegal betting takes place in secret. The husky is confused. What kind of betting? To see who gets the highest scores, the screen displays. Minasa Shizuku, 10,000 current odds, 1-8x bet. Shirohane Sachi, 10,000 current odds, 1-8x bet. A lion asks, who are the favorites? The giraffe answers immediately. The top contenders are Shizuku and Sachi. A salmon says, what about the guy who had the broadcast incident? They scroll down to the bottom. Aoyama Chihiro, current odds, 52x. Asahi Hinata, current odds, 137x. The giraffe mocks him. He really is spectacularly at the bottom. Haha. Asahi Hinata is training alone in a forest. Breathing heavily, a giant bear with sharp claws suddenly appears behind him, roaring loudly. Goo! His expression hardens as he turns around. Asahi Hinata spins, kicking the bear directly in the neck. With just one blow, the bear falls to the ground. Asahi Hinata sighs, just as I thought. He thinks about the different armors. Resilient armor for durability, rage armor for power. I'm getting stronger just by wearing these. He looks at his system display, but the rage armor consumes too much energy. It seems like my stamina is being drained. The system displays, you are unable to use rage armor. Strength, 39/60ths. Durability, 45/60ths. Intelligence, 0/0ths. Agility, 18/20ths. Penalty. While wearing this armor, stamina is consumed every second. Asahi Hinata presses a button on his armor. He changes into a different set. If I want to use this armor freely, I have to get stronger. He puts on a yellow set of armor. For now, I'll use the resilient armor. Yakuno Akane approaches from behind, calling out, Hinata! He turns back, scolding her. You're late, she explains. The tutoring class took too long. Yakuno Akane sighs. It's strange to be in a military school and still have to study academics. He smiles reassuringly. But you're still a high school student right now. Yakuno Akane turns to ask. By the way, you've never had to go to tutoring, right, Hinata? He closes his eyes casually. Never. She looks displeased with his answer. Why not? Asahi. Hinata answers awkwardly. Why, you ask? Then. He bows his head sadly without saying anything. He remembers images of his difficult past. I've heard that training alone isn't enough, Asahi Hinata says. Well, I just study a little before going to bed. Yakuno Akane, satisfied, smiles. You really are diligent, Hinata. Then she raises her six-barreled cannon. Well, let's work hard today too. The reevaluation is coming soon. Asahi Hinata nods in agreement. Yeah, that's right. Someone hiding behind a tree suddenly makes a noise. He cautiously notices and turns around quickly. Asahi Hinata quickly wraps his arm around Yakuno Akane, making her flinch. He lifts her up, barely dodging an attack from someone. Ugh! The two land on the ground safely, and Asahi Hinata immediately takes a defensive stance. Yakuno Akane is confused. Huh? What's going on? Someone holding a weapon steps forward. Shirohane Sachi says casually. You've completely changed, haven't you? She looks at Asahi Hinata and Yakuno Akane, someone who I wouldn't have noticed before. While he's being serious, Yakuno Akane sticks her head out and says, I know who you are, Shirohane Sachi. There's a rumor that you're as strong as Shizuku from Class A. But, ignoring Yakuno Akane, she thinks to herself looking back. We've never even talked, Asahi Hinata asks, confused. Shizuku? Then Shirohane Sachi suddenly says, but recently, Shizuku has been acting a little strange. She raises her weapon. So, Shirohane Sachi rushes towards him, yelling, I'll test you out a little. Asahi Hinata gritted his teeth and dodges. Startled suddenly, he grabs Shirohane Sachi's weapon. He focuses his energy, then uses all his strength to throw her far away. Shirohane Sachi spins in the air, using her weapon to do something. She releases a blast of power, then grabs her weapon and dives down, attacking. A purple beam of power hits the ground, causing a huge explosion. Yakuno Akane yells worriedly, Hinata! From inside the smoke after the explosion, Shirohane Sachi rushes at him with her weapon, surprising Asahi Hinata, unable to escape in time. He raises his arms to block. Asahi Hinata counterattacks. Surprising Shirohane Sachi, she smiles, satisfied. Then she swings her weapon again. Shirohane Sachi plants one foot, preparing for her next attack. Her weapon spins like a tornado and charges towards him, stopping right before hitting Asahi Hinata. He looks a little intimidated. She is still smiling. You have really changed, then Shirohane Sachi says proudly. If you didn't hide your skills, then you've grown a lot. Asahi Hinata asks, wary. What do you want? She just smiles at him. Shirohane Sachi then says, everyone wants to form a team with me for the reevaluation exam, but if I have to team up with someone, I prefer to choose someone interesting. She extends her hand. You seem interesting. Shirohane Sachi smiles brightly. Want to team up with me? Asahi Hinata replies coldly. Okay. Shirohane Sachi's smile seems to shine brightly, but it immediately disappears. She looks confused. Huh? Shirohane Sachi recoiled, stunned, and asked, Huh? What? She still wore a gentle smile. Did I hear wrong? You want us to team up? Asahi Hinata replied. Yep. Shirohane Sachi pouted, puffing out both cheeks in embarrassment. Then, she yelled, Why would I? He appeared unfazed. I don't understand why you would suddenly attack me and then expect us to team up. Besides, he continued calmly, achieving high scores through someone else's help is pointless. Teaming up with you will definitely help me get a better position in class than I have now. Shirohane Sachi was very displeased with him. Asahi Hinata looked upset at being isolated. But then, no one will acknowledge my own skills. She listened intently as he continued. Won't everyone just attack and hate me for taking advantage of you? Then Asahi Hinata raised his hand resolutely. I have my own reasons for joining the association. So, he confidently told Shirohane Sachi, then turned his head away. I must be recognized for my own abilities. Asahi Hinata looked at her with determination. Shirohane Sachi gradually understood. She closed her eyes and smiled contentedly. Then Shirohane Sachi turned and walked away. You're quite interesting. She turned back to wave goodbye. Hurry and climb to the top, okay? I'll be waiting for you. Night slowly fell. Asahi Hinata and Yakuno Akane watched Shirohane Sachi's solitary figure walk away. After she had gone far away, Yakuno Akane turned and shook him reproachfully. What a waste! You should have agreed to team up. He was helpless. Were you even listening to me then? Asahi Hinata explained further. Besides, she doesn't really care about you. She gives off the feeling that she doesn't care about anyone she's not interested in. Yakuno Akane nodded. I see. He turned away. If that's the case, then there's no point in expecting any cooperation. It's better if we just aim for good scores ourselves, just the two of us, causing Yakuno Akane to look after him. Blushing shyly, she awkwardly said, Well, if that's the case, then so be it. While Yakuno Akane happily followed behind, Asahi Hinata thought deeply. So that's the skill of the top student in Class A. He recalled Shirohane Sachi's image. Speed, tactics, strength, excellent in every aspect then. He thought about the final situation just now. She had gone easy on him, even though he faced her with enhanced armor. Maybe? Asahi Hinata lowered his head in frustration. I'm still far away. He checked his armor, current version, check unyielding upgrade list, he muttered. And here I was, getting arrogant over how much stronger I'd gotten. He stared blankly at the information panel. There's no way I can catch up to her with this. I need to perfect the upgrade list even further. From up there, Asahi Hinata surprisingly saw something. Huh? What's this? The screen displayed. You have been granted an audience with Bosum, the Kansai supernatural creature. An audience. The strategic headquarters stood tall and imposing. Inside, the regular meeting of the Alliance Association was taking place. With high-ranking individuals gathered around a circular table, the Minister of Defense, Hagan Renpei, looked at the data on the screen and spoke first. Next on the agenda, concerning the investigation into the cause of the appearance of the dimensional portals. Unfortunately, we still have no new information. The head of the Phoenix Rank S Association, Kagura Kinji, sat leaning back in his chair, listening attentively. The head of the Deldora's Rank S Association, Sherry Truman, rested her hands on her legs, equally focused. He continued. The people who are always passing through the portals. He looked at the head of the Victor Rank S Association, Shio Ogai, and asked, You haven't discovered anything yet? Kagura Kinji was somewhat unserious. It's all so murky. We're still doing our best to close the portals, you know? Shio Ogai added. If we knew anything, we would have reported it already. Sherry Truman agreed. The same goes for us. He confidently stated his opinion. Everyone is ignorant, aren't they? Maybe they know something but are keeping it quiet. If there is nothing to do, won't that be very inconvenient? Sherry Truman spoke. Don't lump me in with your kind. He was not about to lose. Oh, is that so? Hagan Renpei had to intervene. Ahem, he said sternly. Kureha, have you found anything in the past 6 months? He crossed his arms and answered. About that. The head of the Heaven's Grace Ranks Association, Keikein Kureha, widened her eyes and said, I have a feeling that the distance between the portals is gradually shortening. The atmosphere grew quiet. Everyone had their own thoughts. Kagura Kinji propped his chin up with his hand. Sherry Truman looked up and glanced around. Shio Ogai looked aside. For the time being, we can still endure. But, she pondered on, that's right. If we can't handle it, they all thought of the situation with thousands of monsters attacking humans. Hagan Renpei looked defeated. Once again. The disaster will happen again, won't it? Keikain Kureha, who sat beside him, added. Moreover, the monsters are becoming increasingly powerful. If the next disaster occurs, the damage will be much more terrible than before. Hagana Renpei propped his head up. We must come up with countermeasures as soon as possible. Kagura Ginji pushed his glasses up. To do that, we'll need talent, won't we? Hagan Renpei spoke. Exactly. How is the training of the successors going? The principal of Valkyria Academy, Tsushima Atsushi, confidently said, We have several talented individuals who are developing well. He smiled happily. We will soon hold a re-evaluation. Sherry Truman, upon hearing this, rested her chin and waited. Oh, that sounds promising. Kagura Ginji once again acted as if he was the authority. Are there any students we need to keep an eye on? He replied. Of course there are, he recalled. Among the first-year students, Minase Shizuku and Shirohane Sachi. Those two are very promising. The attacks of the two of them were exceptionally elegant, he continued. They freely manipulate the life force of their divine weapons. Shizuku possesses Ryuniornir, a divine weapon that can create an explosive source of energy, and Sachi has Gebolg. Looking at the screen, everyone was intrigued, Shio Ogai commented. So both of them possess divine weapons and immense destructive power. Sherry Truman chuckled. This Shizuku child might be useful to our association, Kagura Kinji coldly said. Is there anyone else worth mentioning? Tsushima Atsushi hesitated. There is still someone, but I want everyone to see them in person at the re-evaluation. He rested his chin and commented, It would be great if we could train a successor with excellent defensive capabilities. He seemed to disagree and asked, Why is that? He explained, We haven't filled that vacant spot yet, and it's been open for a while. Having finished speaking, Kagura Kinji lowered his face with a dangerous look. Now that I think about it, the son of the one who abandoned that position is at your school, right? Asahi Hinata. Is he still attending? Sherry Truman was surprised. Asahi Hinata, Keikain Kureha remembered. Are you talking about the naked child? She also recalled, he's the one with the divine weapon that can't use weapons. The principal smiled broadly. He's still our student. He leaned back in his chair with displeasure. I can't understand it. He should have realized that his divine weapon is useless, right? Is he stubborn, or just stupid that he still keeps it? Tsushima Atsushi defended him. Perhaps it's not like that. He glared at him. Puzzled, he looked at the screen, a proud smile on his face. Surprisingly, that kid, Asahi Hinata and Yakuno Akane were training together. This time, he might become an outstanding one. Today was re-evaluation day. Fireworks filled the sky, and people bustled about. A reporter announced, "Look at this. Compared to a normal school event, this is unbelievably hot." Everyone was looking towards the dimensional portal, pointing and chattering this year. The Valkyria Academy's re-evaluation will also take place through the spontaneous appearance of a rank D dimensional portal. Numerous people were gathered, moving about within the event grounds. Sherry Truman stood above, looking down, speechless. She remarked to the principal, "This year is lively too. It's surprising to see everyone so eager for a test that causes serious injuries every year." Students were laughing and joking with food in their hands. Tsushima Atsushi clasped his hands together, commenting, "We live in an era filled with bad news. After all, maybe everyone needs a breath of fresh air." She replied, seemingly uninterested. "Is that so?" He turned and smiled at her. "By the way, thank you for the security team." Sherry Truman dismissed it. "You don't need to thank me. Training the next generation is the association's duty." Then, she looked down below. "That's Minase Shizuku, right? Is that the kid over there?" She said something that seemed to confuse the principal. "I'm very grateful, and so is the one beside her." "How do you know?" he asked. The two below showed a cold demeanor, not wanting anyone to approach. Sherry Truman acted mysterious. "You may not believe it, but I'm the head of an association. I can tell just by looking." She then noticed down below students were eating bread, others were hugging plush toys. Elsewhere, Shirohane Sachi was happily eating snacks that were being sold. The quick footsteps of someone. Is there a child worth anticipating? It was Asahi Hinata and Yakuno Akane sucking on lollipops in a gloomy garden with a gray sky and somber-colored trees. A rank D portal stood. A student trembled, holding a sword. "Hey," the news feed appeared. A magnifying glass said, "Has it started already?" A koala replied, "The first group started 40 minutes ago." A joyful cup added, "It's that time of year again." A cow responded, "I took the day off just for this." A girl was excited. "I want to see it with my own eyes." A monster grabbed a student, growling, "Grrr!" The student's friend cried out in fear. "Awake!" The monster raised its hand to strike her down. Tears continued to fall, but nothing happened. The female student cautiously opened her eyes. The teachers had taken off their terrifying attire. Unfortunately, one said, "You should stop here." He took her hand. "I'll lead you to the exit. Follow me." The student, tears still in the corners of her eyes, said listlessly, "Yeah, yes." On a large screen, the reporter continued to comment, "Are you enjoying the video?" A chicken spoke. "My heart is pounding." A rock exclaimed. As expected of a Rank S association, the teachers carried the unconscious students over their shoulders. The girl walked in the middle. The reporter continued, "Deldoras never disappoints us. Area security has been quickly secured." Recording planes flew overhead, constantly working to ensure the safety of the exam. Two teachers smiled and waved at the camera. A salmon remarked, "I'm looking forward to seeing the children being rescued." A key replied, "The world is truly pathetic, isn't it?" A husky appeared, "But they're commendable for daring to step into the portal." A lion nodded. "Agreed. Now let's review the rules of the exam." A group of students continuously attacked the monsters with their weapons. The students must earn evaluation points inside the portal. First, by collecting magic stones from the monsters they hunt. Many students were searching for something, and also, items that can be picked up inside the portal, such as ores or plants, will also earn evaluation points. Two students held their loot and smiled. The cameras overhead are still working. In addition, their teamwork will also be evaluated. A student used their shield skill to block an attack from a monster. Another student readied their bow to attack. The two of them skillfully defeated the monster together. A drone recorded it all. The reporter smiled happily. The time limit is 60 minutes, which students will stand out this year. Asahi Hinata and Yakuno Akane were also watching the video from within the crowd. She was chewing on her lollipop and said, "I don't know, but I feel uneasy." He looked at her. "I don't understand." "What do you mean?" Yakuno Akane frowned unhappily. "We're taking this exam seriously, but they treat it like a variety show." Then, she lifted the lollipop in her hand and looked at it. "Hinata is annoyed too." He hesitated. Before he could finish, a loud voice called out, "Why are you annoyed?" Kurimura Takayuki and Hagane walked up from afar. "You're the center of attention, you know?" He was confused. The center of attention. Yakuno Akane didn't like this at all. Oh, they're coming." he patiently explained. Hey, don't you know, the re-evaluation is very popular online. Kuromura Takayuki took a few steps closer, this time, that cosplayer. Then, he put his face close to Asahi Hinata's, mocking, Are you planning to show off something again? It's obvious. Haha. Asahi Hinata felt a little sad upon hearing those words. Yakuno Akane stood behind him angrily. Did you come all the way here just to say that? He put his hands in his pockets. I just happened to be passing by and noticed. Then, Kuromura Takayuki patted Asahi Hinata's shoulder. Don't be so tense. Today is an important day for all of us, so let's not fight. Hagane stood beside him awkwardly, looking away. Asahi Hinata just glanced at him but didn't say anything. The reporter continued, immediately afterwards, we will begin the exam with the second group. He turned his head back. Oh, it's starting now. Students who are mentioned, please gather in front of the portal. Kuromura Takayuki waved. Well, good luck. Hagan turned his head to look but didn't say anything. He looked embarrassed. Then, Hagan suddenly turned and ran away. Ha! Yakuno Akane asked, puzzled. What's wrong with him? I have no idea what he's thinking. He also turned away without answering. A teacher on the stage shouted, Is everyone ready? Takashima Gonzo raised his hand proudly. This is an all-or-nothing exam. Then, he lifted something. In case of emergency, use this device. Sherry Truman stood with her arms crossed, dignified. The Deldores Association will come to rescue you. Takashima Gonzo's eyes became resolute. All right then. Another group of students quickly joined the fray. The exam began. A dog said, The second group is starting, a diamond said excitedly. It's starting, Gog, a young man said. The second group has high expectations too. This is Shirahan Sachi's group, a giraffe commented. That girl was all the rage during the class placement exams. A husky also chimed in. I wonder what kind of monsters they've evolved into, an old man said, still cute. Kuromura Takayuki and Hagane were also participating. A bird said, Let us see how you have grown since the class placement exam, a magnifying glass replied. There are times when a normal child can completely change. Footsteps continued to run. A salmon said, If they're just normal, a diamond reacted. The sound of footsteps. Asahi Hinata and Yakuno Akane were rushing forward. The comment section exploded. Old man, they're coming. A giraffe laughed. Is that the kid who caused the broadcasting incident? Ha ha ha, a polar bear chimed in. I heard we might get to see another intense naked battle today, a pair of scissors said. Aren't they eliminated yet? A young man responded. Looks like they might avoid expulsion today. A husky noticed. But has the design of his armor changed? A rock replied. It's just a feeling. Yakuno Akane was looking elsewhere. A bird commented. Teaming up with Zara is quite special. A key mocked anyway. They're definitely going to be super weak, a gemstone praised. There are so many cute kids at school. Asahi Hinata had discovered something. A monster with sharp teeth was approaching them. A giraffe laughed. Game over, ha ha ha. A diamond also chimed in. What terrible luck, a salmon shouted. Run in! The monster roared. Ah! It raised its huge fist. Then, the fist slammed into the ground, creating a huge explosion. A young man said, Isn't that the end announcement? A koala was scared. This is too dangerous, a cow joked. Deldoras, come rescue us. A significant shockwave created billowing smoke. Suddenly, the monster's mouth opened in pain. It had been pierced by something. A bird was confused. What the heck is going on? It fell on its back. Asahi Hinata, in red armor, kicked the monster hard. Everyone was surprised. A husky wondered, Isn't that the kid who caused? A polar bear interrupted. The broadcasting incident? A dog exclaimed. But he's still fighting, and it's actually effective, a chicken said. Just like I thought, the design of his armor has changed. An old man shouted in surprise. Wow. On the screen, Kagura Ginji was watching Asahi Hinata fight. He rested his chin on his hand, observing intently. Suddenly, something made his eyes widen in surprise. The scene of him kicking that monster away was truly frightening. Everyone around watching on the big screen was also stunned. Hey guys, could that be? Minash Shizuku appeared impatient. Class A. Sherry Truman watched with interest. Who? Observing on the big screen, she said, It's the first time I've seen a divine weapon that can change shape. Tsushima Atsushi clasped his hands behind his back. You don't seem surprised at all, she replied. That useless naked guy. That was everyone's thought, she criticized. But you're terrible to those without talent. Sherry Truman thought of the scene of students who weren't accepted, slinking away. If someone truly has no potential, they could never enter Class E. She closed her eyes and continued. It's obvious that there must be something special about him. Because of that, Tsushima Atsushi smiled, seeing through Sherry Truman. He won't be expelled, will he? Asahi Hinata had just delivered a kick that sent the monster sprawling. He immediately returned to a defensive stance. The power from his rage armor surged out when the monster rushed forward, growling, "Grrr!" He instantly raised his fist. The monster moved quickly with its sharp claws, yelling loudly. It was surprised when it was shot from the side. What was that? Yakuno Akane was also providing support with her six-barreled gun. She continuously fired at the monster. Seeing the situation was not good, she turned back and shouted, "Hinata, are you done yet?" "Almost," he rushed from above. "That's enough skill." The monster looked up, confused. Asahi Hinata used his first rage burst, striking right in the middle of the monster's head. He landed on the ground in front of it. Asahi Hinata bent down to pick up the magic stone after successfully defeating the monster. He realized something. Oops, holding the magic stone. He remembered, I have to hold it with my hand without writing and absorb the results. Asahi Hinata threw the magic stone to Yakuno Akane, smiling. Good support. She winked happily. And you? That was a nice punch. Kurimura Takayuki, hiding behind a tree, had witnessed everything. He angrily clicked his tongue and turned away. Tch! The two laughed and talked to each other. The training is working. This feels amazing. Yeah. Asahi Hinata clenched his fist, thinking to himself, the first rage burst when you let go. He continuously recalled what he had practiced. It's a technique to release all the stored energy at once. It's the wave skill I have with the rage armor. Asahi Hinata rubbed himself. I've come this far in only 2 weeks. I can't wear the rage armor all the time. But while he was absorbed in his thoughts, another monster approached. Yakuno Akane shouted, Hinata, behind you! The mosquito, hit by a bullet, flew away. It collapsed nearby. Yakuno Akane stepped forward to take credit. Ah, I took care of it. She smiled happily. I'm pretty good, aren't I? He didn't hesitate to praise Yakuno Akane, thinking, Akane is making up for my weaknesses. Yakuno Akane recalled the times she had practiced. Maybe it's because I've been trying as I said all this time, the power and accuracy of my divine weapon have increased. Her eyes became sharp. Above all, my ability to detect enemies has developed. Then she shouted, They're coming from that direction, Hinata. Goblin monsters approached from afar, laughing menacingly. Hey, Yakuno Akane announced. 3 hobgoblins. He quickly rushed forward. Got it. The two worked seamlessly together. Yakuno Akane provided support by shooting enemies from a distance. She had eliminated the two in the back, causing them to be stunned. It began to rage, swinging its club and yelling, Keek! At the same time, Asahi Hinata swung his fist and rushed forward. He punched the hobgoblin's club directly. The club cracked, and the fist landed on its face, causing it to wince in pain. His powerful punch sent it flying far away. They vanished into magic stones. Asahi Hinata stood still, looking, thinking. Now I have a finishing move. He picked up the magic stones, smiling contentedly. I can easily pass this test. Yakuno Akane also held 2 more magic stones, beaming. Hinata, we did it again. He became very confident. At this rate, the two of them faced forward. We'll make the school have to reevaluate us. Elsewhere in the forest, Kurimura Takayuki returned, leaning wearily against a tree. Hagan called out from afar. Ah, Takayuki, how did it go? He furiously clenched his fist into the tree. Kuh! Kurimura Takayuki gritted his teeth, his face contorted as if he was about to lose it. Then, he punched hard, yelling, You bastard! A series of punches and shouts echoed throughout the forest. You bastard! You bastard! You bastard! Hagan tried to soothe him. Be calm. Takayuki. Kurimura Takayuki was incredibly frustrated. They defeated an ogre. That trash. Then he recalled their teamwork. Was it because of Akane? No, that's not it. The tree he had punched had a large hole in it. Ah! Kurimura Takayuki's eyes bulged, losing control, talking to himself. Are you telling me you could defeat me anytime and you were just going easy on me all this time? How dare you be so arrogant? He sighed, then said, Hey, let's change the plan. Kurimura Takayuki was helpless. We are following the original plan. But... Then he suddenly turned and grabbed Hagan by the collar, causing him to gasp. Ugh! Kurimura Takayuki glared angrily at him. I said, We are following the original plan. Hagan stuttered in fear. Yes! He clicked his tongue and let him go. Titch! Hagan held his weapon but didn't say anything. Then suddenly, he closed his eyes and focused. Something was filling his gun. Everything was ready. The space around them was incredibly still. Kurimura Takayuki frowned, thinking, I'm making them quit quickly by using the ogre. He grinned evilly. But they got through it. So I have no other choice, do I? Scary monsters appeared at the portal. I'll have to send in the portal boss. A flashback showed young Hagane, a boy with a burning passion for heroes. I always admired heroes. On the TV, footage of a hero was playing. The Deldora's Guild is making a big impact. He watched, captivated by the news. For the next generation after the start of the interdimensional war, his eyes sparkled like stars, showing his admiration for them. It's quite common. Young Hagen had a dream. One day, I will be there too. But as he grew up, things didn't turn out as he had thought. And that dream quickly shattered. As an adult, he held his power in his hands with disappointment, steel element. That's the relic bestowed upon me. The power of the steel element was almost entirely for healing and creating potions. My ability is simply to store essences extracted from living creatures and create medicine. Because it was a healing and potion-making ability, he was often attacked by goblins. I can't fight back. I can only run. He clutched his report card tightly. Relic rank. Hagane sank into despair, his eyes lifeless as he stared at the notice in front of him. Of course, I finally got into Class E. Unable to accept this, he sought help. To transfer to a higher class, I need a partner with attack capabilities. That person was Takayuki. Hagane bowed respectfully before him. While he only looked at Hagane with a sinister smile, I used that as an excuse to please myself. He was a thug, immoral, always bullying others, including Hinata. Hagane, witnessing the scene, could only remain silent. I feel guilty. He stood worriedly behind him, but his selfishness ultimately won, and he pretended not to see anything. At the same time, I felt relieved. Takayuki constantly humiliated Hinata, pouring water on his head, laughing triumphantly, while the surrounding classmates just watched. No one helped Hinata. They even cheered on his actions. Awesome. Oh, that's intense. Ha ha. Hagane felt somewhat comforted watching Hinata being bullied, thinking, there are creatures worse than me. Contrary to his thoughts, Hinata didn't easily accept this miserable fate. His eyes clearly showed a strong will, resisting evil. But Hagane was truly astonished when he clearly saw Hinata's progress. He became stronger, defeating those thugs. That guy has become stronger. He watched in disbelief. He's even doing those things. The person I looked down on? Hinata was trying to improve himself, while he only stood behind him, staying in place. While I'm busy pleasing myself, he continues to work hard. He clenched his hand. I can't allow this to happen, feeling angry at seeing such a person. He gritted his teeth, unwilling to give up, and once again, jealousy and selfishness rose up. Taking over his mind, he planned to harm Hinata for Takayuki. He poured a liquid on his palm. Of course. Why am I thinking this way? He smiled sinisterly, looking at Hinata, his eyes showing his malicious intent. He pretended not to know anything and approached him, patting him lightly on the shoulder with his hand covered in the liquid. A handprint appeared on Hinata's shirt. Maybe that liquid is used to mark targets. Although I believe it shouldn't, I ended up doing it. Scene change. In a forest at night, a student was using their drone controlling ability. The drone quickly followed and flew away. It was Takayuki's accomplice. The three of them, including Hagane, were sitting observing behind the bushes. He immediately ordered, "All right, let's go." He stood up, his eyes crafty as he looked at him, smiling triumphantly. "I'll leave the rest to you." He gripped his gun tightly, aiming directly at the target. Their target was a beast guarding the portal. He encouraged him. "Good aim," he quickly replied. "Got it?" Clenching tighter, Hagane carefully shot the arrow towards the target. The arrow quickly pierced the beast, whiz, causing it to become furious, its eyes glowing red like it was going mad. It immediately roared, shaking the entire forest. "Gwa!" Takayuki, observing the scene, laughed triumphantly. "Your medicine is working quickly." He looked at him, smirking. "Is that what you'd call a rage pheromone?" Those who were marked, including Hinata, would be attacked. They had used a dirty trick, the person being hit by it. They intended to use the beast to retaliate against Hinata. It will attack the target, those who were hit with the medicine. He had used Hagane to achieve his malicious goals. "I didn't expect it to work on the portal boss either," Hagane, observing the beast, said with some concern. Somehow, this feels a little different." Hearing this, he showed his true colors, becoming very displeased. "You're quite talkative for someone who shot the arrow himself." He observed Hagane, who was worried and uneasy, and understood his personality and his fatal weakness. "I'm the type of person who does these things but doesn't say anything, thinking he's the victim." He looked at him with a treacherous smile, his eyes showing his contempt. Truly hopeless. Takayuki quickly left the scene with his accomplice. "After that, we'll go." Hagane was confused, huh? He stammered, puzzled. Wait a minute." He was about to leave. He stopped, his temper flaring. "What?" He held the open vial of liquid, looking at him maliciously. "Of course. He immediately splashed the vial of liquid straight into him, catching him off guard. Ugh, Takayuki coldly stated his intention. We need to destroy the evidence. The beast had caught the scent of the liquid, fiercely looking towards Hagan, who was now terrified, rooted to the spot. The beast started attacking, pouncing and striking him, destroying everything around him. Hagan could only cover his head and run in fear, screaming, "Ah! Ooh-ah!" He was scared, running in panic, questioning him. Why? He looked at him running, just standing from a distance, casually explaining his intention. If it's the portal boss, they'll investigate the cause, he calmly explained. If we get caught, that means we'll be expelled. Hearing these shameless, malicious words, Hagan realized his ultimate goal, but it was too late. They were trying to blame everything on him. Takayuki looked at him with contempt. Hey! He was even kind enough to remind him one last time. If you don't run, you'll die. You know, the beast kept chasing him, baring its fangs and claws. Keck, while he could only run in fear, helpless. He frantically searched his pocket. I need to contact the association, the emergency device, but he couldn't find it. It's gone. A scene flashed in his head, Takayuki grabbing his collar. Don't tell me. He ran in despair, now realizing the opponent's plan was truly too late. He planned to get rid of me from the beginning, while running. He started thinking of a way to survive. I don't have time to cover the scent, while trying to escape the beast's clutches. He kept looking for a way. Anyway, I only have one vial of medicine left, in his pocket. There was still a vial of the liquid, but if I use this, Hagane, running in despair, started laughing at himself. Ha ha ha, I really am. The beast's claws caught him. He was desperate, tears streaming down his face. He was attacked by the beast, gravely injured, but at this moment he only blamed himself. It's hopeless, isn't it? On the other side, a goblin had been defeated. All right, Hinata and Akane were defeating the goblins. He held the monster's stone in his hand, smiling contentedly. I've collected quite a few. Akane clenched her fist, full of motivation, happily saying, at this rate, I can get into Class D. He was also happy, full of hope, saying, that's right. Suddenly, something approached them. An arrow containing the liquid was shot straight towards Hinata. He quickly kicked it away with his foot, but the liquid had splattered all over him. Both of them were puzzled. Akane worriedly approached him and asked, wait a minute, are you okay? He looked at the liquid on his body, wondering. Ugh. He wiped his face, puzzled. What is this liquid? No. More importantly, whose was it? Hagan, using the last of his strength, ran breathlessly towards him. Ha-ah! Ha! Hinata looked at his blood-covered figure, shocked. Hagane. He just knelt down, his actions relieving some of his guilt, as well as being an apology to Hinata. Now it's okay. Hinata won't be attacked anymore. Akane, seeing this scene, panicked and rushed towards him with Hinata. Wait, is this dangerous, Hagane? Seeing his two friends worried about him, shouted, don't come near! He just sat there, not resisting even when the beast rushed towards him. And at this moment, he was strangely calm. We'll stop here. Hinata didn't hesitate and rushed toward him. With one hand, he blocked the beast's attack. Hagane could only sit there, astonished. The beast guarding the portal was very powerful, and it seemed he wouldn't be able to resist for long. Both he and Hagen were thrown far away. Ugh, he worriedly asked about his situation. Hagen, are you alive? He was remorseful, not daring to face Hinata, only stammering back, yes. He looked at him with embarrassment and worry, stammering, why? Why did you do that? He calmly replied, stating his viewpoint. Whether your life ends here or not has not been decided yet. Hinata got up, ready to fight, and boldly declared, I don't know how to give up. After realizing the seriousness of the situation, the Guide Master immediately started the rescue operation of Deldoris. The Deldoris Guild noticed that this was a deliberately caused accident because normally, portal bosses don't leave the portal core. That's because if the core is destroyed, the inside of the portal collapses. But this is the first time they have seen someone act so recklessly, although they know that the boss is chasing Hagane, so he has more likely been deceived into this situation. The boss is way more powerful than Hinata, but the guide still wants to see the limit of Hinata ability, so they wait until Hinata unleashed all of his power. When the boss started to attack, Hinata dragged Hagane out first. The strike of the boss was so powerful that it takes time to fade. Standing in front of the wide skill gap, Hinata remained calm and dodged the attack, then ready to counterattack. While he is in the rage mode, the boss seems not to take any damage from his attack. Right away, the boss uses his tail to hit him. He was flung into the tree trunk next to Akane. After the strong impact, know that Akane can stand the boss attack. He pushed her out, but he is injured by when saving her. Akane suggests that they should run, but Hinata didn't listen because his target is to prove to everyone he surpasses the upper class. He wants to use revenge, but he is not sure that if it is able to defeat it. On the other side, Hagane trying to draw the boss attention because he don't want to risk everyone's life. The monster aim at him since he still have the potion in his hand. As usual, Hinata don't want to give up on Hagane and continue to save him from the boss. Hagane was admired by his philosophy of life. Hinata always looked to my father as a shining example to follow. Even when his life was in danger, he didn't pretend not to see people and his won't be able to face his dad. He run away, so he don't want any losses to do that. He needs to buy some time until the Dronzers arrive. As a result of using too much rage mode, he is exhausted. In a blink, he gets hit. Takayuki observes from the brush. He is so satisfied when everything is going as he planned. As the moment Hinata got hit, he achieved the condition of dead and awarded the permission to meet. Suddenly, he was summoned to a random dimension. In front of him was a little, and she called him master. A lot of questions popped up in his mind while he was finding out what happened. The little girl went behind and whispered into his ear that he is on the verge of dead. And she is the reason why he's still alive, because she summoned him. She explained that this is the mental world she controls. In other words, it is the world inside his suit, and she shows him what is happening outside. The distance between life and death is milliseconds, but if he turns back quickly, he might barely dodge it. So turn out the little girl is here to help Hinata. So he rubs her head and thanks her in shyness. She tells Hinata that it's too early to feel relieved because if things continue like this, he will die soon. He absent-minded because she can only help him this one time, and she doesn't have much strength left. To survive the situation, the little girl will give Hinata a little assistance by poking his eyes, although that is painful. But she have made a slight adjustment to his eyes. Now he is able to defeat the bossy by changing his rigid fighting skill. First is to observe the opponent clearly. Hinata is so confused about all the thing that the little girl done, so she tell him that she just a nameless traitor. The time is running out, so Hinata has to return into real world. He still has many questions to ask the little girl. She told him that if he want to know more, he will have to get stronger, and it seemed that the girl know all the secret why a weapon like a holy relic was given to you all and who brought war to the human world. Hinata slowly drawing down the water while asking the girl. When he get back his conscious, he quickly dodged the attack, but this time is different. So he want to fight instead of running. His movement now is smoother and faster than before. He managed to dodge all of the attack. Akane is surprised. Not just the movement, Hinata can also see the sinister aura, like a killing intent, even though he nearly died because of the monster. But his new eyes can now see the opponent weak spot, so he can use revenge to finish the boss in one shot. At this time, the Dronzers also arrived, but they saw Takayuki hiding suspiciously in the brush, so they wait to see what he going to do. On the other hand, Hinata charged toward the boss weak spot. After dodge its attack, he then focused all the power into his right fist and released a critical punch to the weak spot. He hawked the boss up and then smashed it back to the ground and defeated the boss. Hinata's performance shocks the guide and principal, and the social chat is overflowing with compliments and astonishment. Everyone couldn't believe that, because Hinata went from the weakest person in Class E, who got beaten by a small goblin, into the hero that saved his friends from the portal boss. They all thought it was over for him. His sister at the hospital is very happy and proud of her while watching his fight. The students from Class A also amazed, and they know why the expelled student lost to him after the revenge. Hinata runs out of stamina, and his rage suit also disappear. Takayuki can't believe what just happened, although the plan was ruined. Takayuki don't want to give up yet. He wants to take advantage to finish Hinata since Hinata's power is recovering. His teammate doesn't want to mess with Hinata after what he saw, but if he doesn't finish it, he can be expelled from the school. They don't know that their conversation had been noticed by the Dronzer's guide, so she orders them to arrest him immediately. But the principal still suggests that they should wait, because stopping Takayuki halfway will only fuel his resentment. If that happens, he will try something like this again someday. In spite that Hinata seems to be reaching his limit, they still let them handle it on their own. Takayuki and his teammate disable the drone, then approach Hinata. But the Hinata can block his attack easily. Even though he exhausted, Takayuki was consumed by anger in a blind rage, trying it hit him. But no matter what, he still dodged all and punched Takayuki right in the face. He know that Takayuki is the reason for all of the tragedy, so he don't want to ignore him this time. So he finished him with a knockhead. He told Takayuki he was acting too childish. That is why Hinata didn't bother with him until now. After listening to what Hinata said, he released all of his anger standing up and tried to strike him back. But this time, Hinata threw a full power punch to knock out him. He don't even need to use his holy relic. The S-guide and principal are now keeping an eye on Hinata's potential. The day after the exam, the school went back to daily routine. But from now on, Hinata no longer be the weakest of the weak. Everyone had a different perspective on him. The looks of disdain and mockery were gone, replaced by admiration and respect. At last, they achieved their goal of changing perceptions when they walked past. Shizuku, she was also impressed, but she told him that if it were Class A, he would have won much more easily. Akane is annoyed by the behavior of those two, but Hinata-kun, that Shizuku is casual as always, so he just take it as a compliment. But her partner has a very suspicious look at him. In the dormitory, Hagane is preparing his belongings to leave, because he is one of those who involved to Takayuki plan. When he leaves, he takes a last look at the place that he always dreaming of. Walking down to the hall, he sees Hinata, so he wants to say goodbye one last time before he goes, and he aware of all of the act. But because he was so scared of changing now, Takayuki is headed to juvenile detention for attempted murder, but they only expelled Hagane since he was under threat. But turned out he didn't give up the road to be a hero yet, it's just that his holy relic is no suitable for direct fighting. So the principal told him the recovery potions that he make have value, so he said, it better than doing not thing is to use his ability in the right way. He was inspired by Hinata, and he promised to him that he shouldn't wallow in despair, and last thing he want to sorry about everything, and thanks for the lesson. The learned from Hinata. Then have Sake their hand in friendly. At that moment in the principal office, her is so relieved that everything ended safely. But the true is, he was quite risky because of that. They could see good show out of it. And even Deldoris's guildmaster was pleased, and she wanted him to come as intern. The master is rarely to offer someone an internship, and from now on, it is officially allowed for first years to go to the front lines. The condition is being in class C or higher. Both Akane and Hinata have matched the condition. There are a lot of differences in class, such as the posture being different. There is a sense of growth in B class that he couldn't find in class E, and in order not to fall behind, he needs to work harder. A new friend comes to Hinata to ask how it feels to be in class B. His name is Arakawa Subaru, and he has been in Class B for a while, but turned out he is mocking Hinata because he assumes that a Class E student cannot improve that fast. He believed that Hinata has some kind of cheating he has never heard of. Class E jumped straight to Class B. He also asked, is it true that even the portal boss was helped by Deldoris? But responding to him, Hinata just laughed, because there is always someone like Takayuki in any class. During the first lesson, the teacher wanted to remind all the students that they were in Class B right now. Hinata saw that many of them had changed, but he could be not satisfied with being in Class B. He should aim for Class A. This time, only one student from Class A switched classes, and that means the gap in skills is significant. And if they want to join a good guild, they need to work on closing that gap. And by that, Subaru asked the teacher about the unusable of the practice portal. But from now on, the student who moved up to Class C or higher will have a provisional license to enter D to C class, practical portals. However, they need permission to accompany a guild recognized by Deldoris and the government, it called internships. As he can tell student who belonging to a guide have gained real experience since their school days, it might put the student's life at risk, but if they aim for higher places, it is worth challenging them. Selves, although Hinata and Akane is in different class, but they still prefer to have lunch together. She also being looked at with the same gaze because she came from Class E, and also gotten entangled with someone like Takayuki since Class C is qualified to take an internship. Akane is so excited about it because she can get paid based on her activities, however it varies by the guild recruiting and the portal being challenged, but it can be substantial and goblins only give 150 yen. Now Hinata is being able to earn money while going to school. It means he could help with his mother's and Hikari's hospital bills, and moreover growing in the training portal is starting to hit its limit. So it's a 2-in-1 deal. There is a recruitment notice on the bulletin board in front of the faculty room. It is always bustling with people there. Hinata immediately heading there, while they plan to go there together. Suddenly Sachi appear and offer to go with them. And because Class B and Class A is right next to each other, so she came up as promised, and she want to go intern together with Hinata. But he refused because if he go around with her, he won't be able to train. At the corner, Subaru heard their conversation, and he curious that in Class A's top-tier talent came to see Hinata. So in that case, he also want to go intern at the same place, and trying to expose Hinata after school. They all applied for the same internship as expected. Sachi applied for the same internship as Hinata. The internship location is Elban, a B-rank guild, and the target location is a D-class portal, but they are only accepting 3 recruits. When he got home, the little girl his suit dimension show up and said that with Hinata's current skills, it wouldn't be strange to die hopelessly at the hands of anyone, anywhere. Hinata is surprised by the appearance of the little girl. It turned out that she could be wherever she wanted, because this was bound to his castle. He thought that he needed to become stronger to meet her. But the fact is, she could appear whenever she wanted. This time, she came to check Hinata's growth and find out why is it so slow, and she told him that originally, sacred relics emerge from nothingness and interfere with physical objects. The little girl doesn't have the exact name to. She prefers Hinata to call the Nanashi during the daytime. Nanashi is always beside Hinata and staring at him. He is so annoyed by her. But only Hinata can see Nanashi. No one else can see her. He make Akane a bit scared by asking her if she saw Nanashi. Then Sachi come to have lunch with them. She is also scared when Akane asks her that if she sees it. On the other hand, Nanashi is rushing Hinata to training because she knows that with his current skills, it wouldn't be surprising if he died at any moment. Hinata's still wondering about something, but Nanashi won't talking to him because he's still not strong enough. Then Mr. Gonzo came in. He is proud of himself because his in-class E are now at class B and C. Then he give result to who are authorized by the teacher. Both Akane and Sachi got assigned, but strangely Hinata didn't make it. They prioritized Akane over him. That also means Subaru failed too, but Hinata have received a special offer from S-Rank Guild Deldoras. Then after school, he go to the training portal like always, but now he reached the maximum, so he no longer absorb Hobgoblins mana stones. He only need my strength to increases by 5 more. Then he will be able to freely use the rage suit. Nanashi still assumed that he will die right away if he going into a real battle in that condition, and about the eyes that she granted him. It quite a useful ability, but it doesn't last long because Hinata intelligence is low. Intelligence is the power to realize supernatural phenomena through understanding. To be simply, it's the power needed to activate magic. But Hinata only heard that there are monsters who can use magic, but he have never heard of a human using it. But true as magic can manifest in anyone. However, the talent that emerge after manifestation vary from person to person. Now the level of magic in Hinata is 5, and it way too low. Since it has come, Nanashi have no choice but to use a different method, is to challenge a C-grade portal. Hinata is able to do it, but he can't fully utilize that ability. So he enter the C-grade portal that Nanashi opened, right after stepping into it. Many spears pierced through his body. Since he started training, the suffering he endured in the past now seems meaningless compared to the pain of the present. When he wakes up, all the things he had just been through look like a nightmare, and he is still alive. It turns out that the portal Nanashi made only transports the spirit. It doesn't affect the physical body, but his body is defenseless while he is in the portal. Hinata is so upset with what just happened, but Nanashi said that if you think only deaths he can understand will come to him, then he won't get any stronger. It's just like awakening of the suit. They have their condition to awakening, and dungeons is one shortcut to do it. Then they got home, and continuing to challenge the dungeons, repeating over and over. Despite how painful it is to Hinata, he's slowly losing his nerve. After a while, he must face death without yielding to the terror that what called heroes. The next day when he goes to school, he cannot stop thinking about yesterday that he couldn't try again. After that attempt, the real death with pain made him hesitate. Even Nanashi gave up on him. Even though he knew he couldn't die, the pain felt very real. Then he comes to the Deldoras intern presentation, where all the Class A student gathered, Shizuku Minase, Kaito Hibishima, Chloe Budget, and Anko Heikan. Hinata and Subaru is the only that come from Class B. As soon as they arrived, they started mocking each other with comparisons of rank between the classes. However, Chloe wasn't interested in their conversation. He thought Subaru wasn't worth associating with, which made Subaru so angry that he challenged him to a duel right then and there. It was only then that he realized this guy could control invisible blades. Hinata surprised him by catching one of his blades. Seeing Hinata said that it is pathetic to sweat like that, and if he was going to show such an ugly display, she would prefer him to withdraw from this internship after Shizuku told weak people a burden. Hinata turned furiously, but thankfully the teacher came on time to stop their argument so that they can start the presentation. When Hinata came home, he made a firm determination. After hearing those words from Shizuku, he suddenly seemed motivated. He was called weak, and he couldn't say anything back, so he doesn't want to be a coward who's too scared to face things head-on. His courage is resonating the suit. This time, he was able to advance further inside by predicting movements and upcoming events. He managed to evade the spike traps. Each time he dodged an obstacle, he thought ahead and anticipated the situation, but he still had not reached to the level that he survived in the dungeon yet. So days later, he continued to train, and finally, he met the dungeon's boss. After training time, he unclocked many skills that increase his speed and reflex. The day of the internship, Guildmaster Sherry and Submaster Jin had prepared everything to welcome the students from Valkyrie Academy. The sub-guide seemed very interested in the students of Class A, especially Shizuku, but he was unaware of Hinata's presence. Hinata, Shizuku, and Subaru showing their respect to the guide. So the plan is to challenge an unexplored C-rank portal in teams frontline, middle and rear Class A will be the front, and the 2 in Class B is assigned to the middle guard with the Submaster. The goal is to defeat the boss and close the portal no matter regardless of which portal it is. Everyone in the group has the duty to protect the civilians and suppress the presence of the portals, and there is no such thing as who should or shouldn't. But there still appear some who do it for fame and money do it, but guide. Sherry. Admire her grandfather, so she chose the first option. So the front line go first. Then the middle come after. Normally the Submaster will be at the front line, but today he has to stay in the middle to keep eye on the students. The middle job is to defeat the monster after the frontline strike. It's time for the middle guard to go. When they enter the portal, all of the monster had been defeated by the front line, but there's still one try to throw rocks at them. Hinata react fast and block the rock. Then the submaster only need one sword to slide the monster in half in the blink of an eye. Then they started scoot and hunt them down. Due to the fast reaction of Hinata, submaster is King D impress. On the other battlefield, Sachi and Akane are fighting at B rank guide, but it seems that Sachi doesn't have to drop a sweat dealing with the monster. Akane is kinda upset because Sachi has all the work done so quickly that she didn't have the chance to contribute at all. So she wonders what's happening to Hinata. On this side, Hinata is able to use all of the things that he learned into a real battle. Even his friend and the guide are impressed by his moves and skill, but Hinata's classmate don't want him to take the stage, so to join the battle, they both very good. Subaru has sufficient attack power and stamina. As for Hinata, he doesn't have much, but he knows how to act while considering his position. He doesn't overstep his boundaries by rushing ahead, and more than anything, his reaction speed is abnormal. Eve faster than some of the squad members. He have the ability to sense danger, a skill only be honed through real battles. Now, the sub-guide have the chance to see the potential of Hinata. While Hinata was learning with Nanashi, she taught him to refine the instinct of sensing danger. He have to question everything and sharpen his 5 senses after some time. The squad realized that the number of monsters was far beyond expected. These monsters should have already been wiped out by now, yet they suspected that something unusual had happened. But the S-Guide is one of the 10 in Japan who wields a 5-star ranked artifact. There's no way she loses. Suddenly, a sniper was aiming at the submaster, but Hinata noticed the sniper and stopped him from shooting the vice captain. He said that it could be a criminal guide trying to steal the portal rewards. So this time, Hinata saved the sub-guide. But then a squad member rushed at them and request regroup with the vanguard because she is in danger. Previously, the vanguard group go in first, and their job was to leave as few enemies as possible for the rear units spread out over a wide area within communication range, and take out every enemy they encountered. So the one chosen to do this job must be high class, and also go with an S-guide like Sherry. Her ability can use for defense and attack at the same time. All of the rumors about her is right until now, after finishing the big monster Sherry. Leave the small one to students. Shizuku realized the strange about the monster movement. Anko, the girl who holds the teddy bear, seemed to be harmless, but her ability requires magical crystals from defeated enemies. By picking up the crystals lying on the ground, she can turn it into a monster that she can control and reuses them. That is the first time S-Guides see a holy relic like it. But then, the same here, a sniper ambushed is set up, but the S-Guide can sense it. But there are more than one. They started firing rapidly at the vanguard. Notice the situation, she told the squad to call reinforcements. This is not just an illegal guide aiming for loot, because if looting is the goal, they would normally wait until after the portal boss is defeated and the shots aren't from artifacts. It seems that someone is controlling the monsters while thinking about the solution. She needs the student to fight small monster, but she didn't know that there is, and trap under her spot. So when she got trapped, they shot the crest at the S-Guide so she could not use her power. Hey, had the ability to neutralize artifacts and were also overwhelming the vanguard faction. They seized the opportunity and fired a fatal shot to finish off Sherry, but what they didn't expect was that Hinata arrived just in time and blocked the bullet. Everyone was shocked to see Hinata.